Stacy, I'd like to amend tonight's
Can you wait till
agenda.
I do this again?
At noon.
Coming to order, I'd like to welcome everybody. The agenda and supporting documents are posted on the district website on Saturday prior to board meetings. You can access the information by clicking on Board of Education under About Us and then click on Agenda and Minutes. If you'd like to make a public comment to the Board of Education, please review and complete the public comment card that Ms. Bain has, and we will call on you in the order that we receive them. We will receive public comments fairly quickly, so if you haven't filled out the card, please make sure you do so at this time. All study sessions, special meetings, and business meetings of the school board are conducted in public and always offer an opportunity for the public to come before the board. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes each. Our district mission is to support each student's needs by providing the opportunities, experience, and educational skills for their journey. Our district vision is that all students will be communicators, contributors, critical thinkers, and collaborators, empowering each for the life ahead. As a board, we adhere to our norms, which include our social contract, which is that we, 1, be respectful, 2, practice active listening, 3, model our district 4 Cs, 4, make data-driven decisions, 5, focus on the whole district, 6, act with positive intent, with no surprises, and 7, we govern, not manage, we steer, not run. I believe that Ms. Douglas has.
Yes, so I make a motion to amend tonight's agenda. I move that we change the following 2 agenda items to approve from approval to review. Number 5, Roosevelt air monitoring, and number 6, Roosevelt abatement.
Just repeat it over.
Sure, I move to amend tonight's agenda. I move to change the following 2 agenda items from approval to review. Number 5, air monitoring, and 6, Roosevelt abatement.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. This is an opportunity for any questions or comments. We'll start with you since you made the motion.
Super, I appreciate that, thank you so much. There's significant public interest surrounding the Roosevelt project, with many community members closely following this process. Shifting these agenda items from approval to review would provide us with the necessary time to request further information, fostering a more thorough discussion. This approach would also reinforce transparency in our decision-making process, ensuring that all actions taken are open and accountable to the public. As this project is not time sensitive, accommodating this change is both reasonable and feasible. Thank you.
Anybody else? Go around. Do you have anything to say? No?
No, just that I do think the projects are time sensitive, but we're abating right now, so air monitoring seems important to me.
We
That's
can't
what I was
hear, I'm
gonna
We
say.
sorry.
can't hear.
We're in the middle of that, we're into the second week of abatement. We have been air monitoring, quality monitoring. We want approval for it to continue through the duration of it. It is a service, but due to the extensive nature of the service, I think it's important. So delaying it would then put a pause on that air quality monitoring, which, I would have concerns about.
You have something to add, and, in regards to it is the board's responsibility to approve, but to understand the information that we do approve. So what is being presented tonight gives us time to take a look at it, so we can then make a more appropriate approval, more so than just 5 minutes just here and there.
I understand that. I also understand that I have not received one question regarding, Dr. Bessie put an email out on Friday or Thursday, and I, to my knowledge, we haven't received any questions, follow-up questions with what was in board docs.
That's good.
And then just to add, I was hoping that we could have the review, so we can gather the
Yes,
information that your team presents, gather that, come up with our questions, to be able to come back and ask all the questions at one time, so thank you.
So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
Wow.
Wow. Of course.
Let's maintain proper decorum, please. Item number 2, we're going to public comments. Ms. Bain, is there any others?
Yes, there's one more.
Okay. So, public comments are a time for the community to address the board. You have 3 minutes to make your comments. We will be listening, but we don't partake in any discussion or deliberation or dialogue. I'm going to call them and order that receive them. If anyone still hasn't filled out a public comment card, please do so now. And first one is Ms. Finkelstein.
Good evening.
Start whenever you're ready. Is it weird sitting over there?
Whenever you're ready, and I hope I don't sneeze during this because my ragweed allergy is like off the charts, so I apologize.
What is that? What is that?
It's over here.
What?
It's over here, wherever it is.
Oh,
It was
okay.
in front of me.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I am here to speak to you as a concerned citizen. In August 2023, Arch Environmental projected an abatement cost between $450,000 and $640,000 plus an additional $100,000 contingency. During the March 18th, 2024 televised board meeting, Mr. Stottlemyre, Mr. Gross, and another gentleman from Arch came before the board. They were questioned about the huge discrepancy between the estimate and the $93,000 bid submitted for board approval. They told the board that the bids were so low because further testing was done after that estimate. I pointed out that there were no contingency funds in the request. I asked Mr. Stottlemyre if he wanted to add contingency funds. He said no. If what these gentlemen told the board in March 2024 was true, and if additional testing was done, why are those same people seeking a lot more money just 1 week into abatement? You're considering paying Arch Environmental for asbestos consulting services and perimeter air monitoring. While I'm glad that you're finally doing it, why aren't you adding additional monitoring of the water runoff in and around the site? Your abatement contractor is seeking over $193,000, a change order plus additional contingency funds. I always suspected that the board wasn't told the full truth about testing or contaminants in that building, but I couldn't prove it. This costly request at the onset of the work tells me that this is the tip of the iceberg, and EME fully expects to find much more asbestos and other contaminants in that building. This board must be able to trust the superintendent, the staff, and the expert consultants that they hire. That trust has clearly been broken. Despite what the board was told, thorough testing was clearly not done before seeking those bids. The proof is now in front of you. This board needs to come to grips with the fact that vital information and the truth have been withheld from you. For 2 years, we were all deceived and manipulated by the Assistant Superintendent of Facilities and Arch Environmental, making the board look like fools. Board members, you should be outraged. For purposely and repeatedly misleading, manipulating, and withholding vital information from the board, the only action you should take tonight is to terminate your relationship with Arch Environmental and the employment of Mr. Stottlemyre for cause effective immediately. I encourage the board to strictly adhere to your norms, pause, thoroughly examine the data and FOIA documents, and publicly reconsider every option for that property before moving forward. Our kids and our community need you, the board, to truly lead and stop being misled. Thank you.
Art, did you pay attention? Art. Pay attention.
We need proper decorum from where, we need proper decorum.
I'm sorry.
Not whooping, hollering, clapping, booing, hissing, proper decorum, or else I'm going to ask you to leave,
Okay.
okay? Number 2, Jeanette Summers.
Hi guys, proper decorum, let's go there. Last board meeting I was at when I was speaking about a child being threatened to be stabbed, and the principal at the middle school made that child stay in a classroom. I had 2 board members whispering to each other and giggling. So if we're going to talk about decorum, let's talk about what goes on the side of this room. Let's talk about the fact that our superintendent was covering her mouth laughing at people for their religious beliefs. Let's talk about the fact that she was rolling her eyes for over a year at your constituents and you did not stop it. The next thing I'm gonna say about Roosevelt is I am not an ATM, nor is everybody that lives in this district. Some of you live in lakefront homes. Not everybody in this district does. Have respect for the people and their money. Do your due diligence, which you did not do, because now we know there's more asbestos. So when that motion was made by 2 of the board members, due diligence was not done. It was not done by the superintendent. It was not done by Art. So do it. Fix the problem and fix your mess. I'm not an ATM. I am so appalled. You've become an embarrassment. You've become an embarrassment to the community. It's like what Miss Beatty said, we're a team. I view you, maybe you can't see it, as a clique. And everybody just follows the leader over here. I don't need politicians to waste my money on things. I need elected officials. So tonight, we're gonna see who the politicians are and who the elected officials are. Thanks.
Chris?
Okay, regarding Roosevelt, tonight you're going to be asked to approve an additional $293,000 for Roosevelt demolition. That brings the total cost to more than $800,000, and it won't stop there. Without a full asbestos survey, including the oldest roof sections, there is no telling how much more asbestos will be discovered in the walls, ceilings, and so forth when they're open. Costs will keep climbing. The project is already a financial disaster. By rejecting the $2.5 million purchase offer, the district has thrown away $3.3 million plus dollars that could have been invested towards the students. Imagine what that money would mean for smaller class sizes, more teachers, new technologies, extracurriculars, versus paying to haul bricks and dust into dumpsters. This is not just about money, it's about safety. Without a complete independent asbestos survey, it's just dangerous. And if asbestos is missed, those fibers can contaminate our air, lakes, streams, watersheds, soils, kill animals, and our precious herons and egrets that are already on a list for saving. So the long-term health risks and potential liabilities would far outweigh the rising costs. The only way to ensure 100% safety is simple. Do not demolish the building. Roosevelt is a 100-year-old plus community landmark. Our neighbors, parents, and taxpayers have spoken time and again. We want transparency, we want safety, we want Roosevelt preserved. Ignoring us only deepens the mistrust. This is the only decision that makes financial, environmental, and educational sense. Board members, you have a choice tonight. You can continue down the path of waste, risk, destruction, or you can change course and save millions of dollars and put students first. Vote no on additional demolition spending and put Roosevelt up for sale. Ferndale did it, and you can too.
Tonight I ask you to vote no on the motion for the following reasons. Number one, the Board of Education has not been told the truth and has been misled for the last 3 years. The school district possesses evidence that the old asbestos walls and ceilings on the first floor are hiding behind the more recently finished ones. Arch stated that the first floor is asbestos-free. which is false, because the first floor was never intrusively tested. The district knows that the abatement specifications posted on demolition manager's website in January of 2024 for the bidding contractors assumed and classified the roof as asbestos-containing materials. The district possesses evidence that Arch never tested the old roof, but nevertheless reclassified it recently as asbestos-free. So unless the roof is conclusively tested, it should be fully abated, per Mr. Jeremy Howe of Eagles following his April 2024 visit to Roosevelt. The district was also informed by Mr. Howe of Eagle that 65,000 square feet of walls and ceilings should be abated and not 10,500 square feet or 15%. The district knows that Arch secretly solicited partial abatement quotes from contractors through a secret addendum number 1, also known as revision number 1, which totally contradicted the official abatement inspections specifications. This addendum number 1 was never shared, nor officially posted, nor approved by the demolition manager ALK or by the demolition architect TMP. The district also concealed addendum number 1, did not share it with the Board of Education, and purposely misled the Board of Education when they voted on the approval and approved EME's quote of $93,000 for the abatement of only 9,500 square feet of asbestos-containing materials. The Board of Education did not realize that they voted on an unapproved, unpublished partial abatement addendum number 1. The people of Eagle Harbor and I are demanding a full, intrusive inspection of the entire building, including but not limited to the entire first floor and the entire roof. The inspection should be conducted by a trustworthy and licensed contractor, not by Arch, and not chosen by the district. Both entities have a serious conflict of interest. They have shown not to be trustworthy by having failed to notice, report, and repair the widening classroom ceiling cracks prior to the ceiling collapse in 2022. These ceiling cracks dispersed cancer-causing chrysotile asbestos fibers and exposed Roosevelt staff, teachers, and children, likely for years prior to the room 204 ceiling collapse. Follow your conscience and vote no.
Thank you.
Thank you. First, I'd like to apologize for my outburst. I just wanted to make sure that everyone had eyes on the speaker when Mrs. Finkelstein was pouring out her heart for all of us. I'm bitterly disappointed that even all the information that you have been given about the asbestos abatement, the insufficient bidding, all of it has been summarily denied. And then tonight, when you have an opportunity to say, gee, maybe we need to look at this again, you vote no. I'm astounded by all of that. I have yet to hear out of anyone's mouth why do you want to demolish? Obviously, the charter school idea is off the table. I don't know why you won't consider selling to an ethical builder or at least counter offer with something that will better meet your needs. I wonder if those of you who continue to vote no, are you not understanding all of the information, or are you just choosing to deny it? I urge you to vote no on this addition. If you think that this additional money is just the tip of an iceberg, is all it's going to be, you're wrong. It's only the tip of the iceberg. There will be cost overruns, and it will become prohibitively expensive. When your solution is right in front of your eyes, vote to review all of your information, review it, and based on new, fresh, and authentic facts, change your mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Litta. Mr. Brad Abbott.
The start of every board meeting begins with that your decisions will be data-driven. And back in March of 2024, you'll remember this slide that was presented saying that by all the data that you had, the decision would be to demolish Roosevelt with a gain of $150,000. Those are your numbers. A year and a half later, we now know those numbers are false and likely were made to be low on purpose. $93,000 came out of nowhere because all of a sudden you decided to abate just 1/7 of this building, even though you had an engineering study that said you had 65,000 square feet you needed to abate. It would cost $800,000, and you're on the way to go there. Or right now, just using your numbers now, even if you do sell the land, which you're saying you're not even going to sell, you're on the hook for $2 million out of the students' funds. You have $2 million just laying around? I don't. It's disgusting what you guys are doing. Lying to the public, lying to the students, lying to everyone. I'm grateful that you are going to look at maybe abating a little bit more of what you should be abating. That's the good news. Bad news is you're going to spend $200,000 more on top of the bad money you're already putting out. What do we want? We want you to reject this additional spending, stop putting our air and water at risk, halt the demolition, sell Roosevelt to one of the many developers interested. You've even marketed it, and you could get a lot more money than even the $2.5 million probably. And use these funds to fund the district. Just do the right thing. You have the opportunity now because you now know what the facts are. You can turn this around and say, look, we made a decision based on what we knew, and now we can change that, and you can be heroes to everyone. Thank you.
Good evening, board. I want to start by saying that I feel a huge betrayal by our school district. I worked with Julie, our children were friends. They were on the sailing team together. We've been to each other's home. Stacy, you've helped us a lot in the coalition fundraiser for which I'm board president. You used to help us for years until COVID stopped those fundraisers. And I know that everybody here is a volunteer. I get that. I put hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of volunteerism into this school district. I live out of district. I was the biggest cheerleader. I had my own Facebook page for the community that we still have, and I advertised the school district, told them how to do school choice, encouraged them to do kindergarten. I was all that. Parents called me because they knew I was always in the know. Okay, now what? Now we're called a small group of people who have an issue in the media. We're not a small group. These are just the faces you see every day. We have so much support. We have support from the community. We have staff and teachers who can't show their faces who support us. We have families and communities in our West Bloomfield who support us. And we're paying our lawyers out of our own pocket, selling t-shirts and doing fundraisers so that we can do what we believe is right. So I ask you, why do you take us for fools? Why do you take us as fools? Do you think that we wouldn't ask what really happened when the ceiling fell? I had 3 kids who went through there for 18 years. I was in that school building. I know that building. Why did nobody say anything? If it was known, Mr. Steltmeyer, if it was known that there was asbestos in that building, okay? I have 3 children who were there. Why didn't you tell us what unsafe means? What does unsafe mean? People think the roof fell in. No, it's one ceiling. Why didn't anybody say? I kept trying to find out, what the hell happened? What is going on? Nobody would say. Why don't you trust us enough? Why do you want to rush this demolition all secretively without telling anybody? Do you not understand how that looks to the rest of us? You're hiding stuff, and now we know it. And then why won't you disclose what will be done with the land? That's what everybody asks. What do they want to do with it? We have no idea. Throw buses on it, soccer field, whatever. Not something the community wants or the community needs. Give them back their building. You can put in housing, much sorely needed low-income housing when they'll bring more children into this district that's reducing so quickly. And give some community support to that building where families can come and have a library, a co-op preschool, senior lunches. So many things can be done in that community with that beautiful building that once gone can't be rebuilt. So at a time when this country has been held hostage by such an inhumane, reckless, and lawlessness and obfuscation, are we doing better with Bloomfield? You tell me.
Citizen Emily?
members, what an important night this is for each of you individually as you face questions of courage, character, and morality. Tonight you will vote on whether to spend an additional amount of up to $293,000 of taxpayer money towards abatement and demolition of Roosevelt. This is an encouraging step in the right direction. However, serious problems remain. The roof must be properly tested prior to abatement. A full, independent, intrusive inspection of the entire building, including the first floor, must be completed before you can determine the actual scope and cost of a safe abatement and demolition. Thus far, you, the board, have been making monumental decisions that seriously impact people's lives without full information about this project. We all owe a debt of gratitude to Christian Sonneville for his tireless work on obtaining data on safety issues related to abatement and demolition of Roosevelt, and to the Save Roosevelt Group for pushing for the safety of the people and environment. Thanks to this important work, the district has thus far been spared inflicting irreversible harm to the public. Your actions have caused great fear and concern for the good people living in the vicinity of Roosevelt. I've spoken to mothers, fathers, and grandparents lacking trust to leave their safety in your hands after all this misinformation and careless plans the board has made up to this point, in the absence of complete data. The misguided decisions of a voting bloc of 5 people on this board directly impact our lungs, our health, threaten our environment, and the value of our property while you enjoy safety with your loved ones from a distance. Trust has eroded with misinformation provided by district leadership to the public through the media. For example, the district, which claims safety as a priority, has been quoted as saying only 10,000 square feet of building needed abating, when in fact EGLE had recommended a minimum of 60,000 square feet that should be abated, and the roof still needed testing. The district tries to block key FOIA requests. The history of a lack of honesty and transparency should be a wake-up call to the voting bloc on this board. Have you been given all the information you need? Tonight I'm asking this board to push the pause button. Insist that you be provided all of the facts after all of the safety inspections are completed. Have that property properly evaluated for sale, with and without Roosevelt. Take another look at existing offers. Once you have all the fiscal and safety information, only then can you make the correct moral decision. Thank you.
Joanna?
According to Arch's numbers, this board voted to abate only 17% of the known asbestos in Roosevelt, not including the roof. My grandson was a student in the building, one of 2 board members' children in the magnet program at Roosevelt at the time of the ceiling collapse. In spite of our worries about their asbestos exposure and that of other students and teachers due to Arch's inadequate inspection of cracking ceilings, it will pale in comparison to the possible exposure of the 2,000+ residents of Keego Harbor as asbestos from demolition pollutes their water and covers their small community with jagged-shaped asbestos fibers too small to see. I address the board at every opportunity because my conscience requires that I do everything I can to help prevent this impending health and environmental tragedy. My continued hope is that you haven't grasped my concerns, rather than you don't care about them. Because this board has a responsibility to not just students, but to their families and the communities at large. In the end, you own your vote, and you live with it. Sorry, I had hoped the abatement was sufficient, is hollow succor to someone who has gotten a 2-year mesothelioma death sentence. So if you truly believe the abatement is sufficient, I would invite each of you with your children and grandchildren to come stand on the property as Roosevelt comes down. But I know you won't be there because you know it isn't safe. Even added funds won't allay the residents' fears when testing of the roof has been inadequate and incomplete. 2 years of delay have given the district plenty of time to put plans in place to demolish safely. There should be no excuse for an emergency demolition, which means spray tons of water and increase the polluted runoff to our lakes. You have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers. With current uncertainties with the state and a negative operating budget, how can you justify spending yet more money on a building and a piece of property you don't want or need when there are better alternatives? If you sell the building after this first partial abatement, no additional expenses would be needed. This initial cleanup in the abatement process can remove the cracked ceilings, eliminating liability in future asbestos exposure claims. This is the chance to show us that the residents of Keego Harbor do matter, not just with idle words, but with your actions.
Good evening, I'm Jennifer Vasquez. I took the opportunity this week to review a speech I made on April 15th, 2024. The same week, we brought strong information regarding the overall amount of asbestos contained in Roosevelt Elementary. I would like to apologize for not having a specific speech prepared that evening. And as a result, I was overflowing with emotion and let my anger drive my speech. With recent events and overall growing violence, I want to embody a different approach. I want this board at some point to recall a point when I came to you and told you that I was saved. I don't recall when that was. This serves as a guidepost as to how I want to live my life. One very important task I have is to know Christ and make him known. I'm not sure how saving Roosevelt fits into that, but I feel that's how I fit into serving my community. But tonight is not about what I can do, it's what you are being asked to do. Again, reconsider your past decisions and your impact on this community. Truly, this is about integrity and doing the right thing. This is not just about how to spend more money. You could still instead choose a win-win option. It is the only way to ensure 100% safety, not to demolish. That's what I'm saying, not to demolish. I would also like to share my daughter's concerns. My 18-year-old daughter is a 2025 Laker Online graduate. Her plans to finish out high school as a WB high school graduate were cut short. The concern is over mental health and overall safety, a true social economic concern. This is why homeschooling is so appealing. I also want to highlight how you can better use funding to help with this overall safety measure. Reconsider strengthening the prevention of violence, improving the school climate, enhancing safety measures, and partnering with the community. Hear me out. You know this will not be the only cost increase to this project. A project that the community has told you over and over they do not support. Vote to pause and reconsider your options, although it might be too late. You say you are focused on safety when it comes to overall safety, but you're cutting corners. Thank you.
I mean, my hands are shaking. I'm so ticked off. Like, we've been coming to you for years now, and we've been trying to talk to you. You couldn't talk to us for one reason, another reason, and now abatement started, so you can't talk to us about that either. You weren't going to help us with this building. You were always going to tear it down, because that ceiling did not fall by itself. Okay, we've known that the entire time. And we gave you a chance, and we thought that maybe, you know, something could happen. In Ferndale, the ceiling fell too, but now that's the new community center. I don't really use community centers, but I think there's so much potential for that building. I don't know
why you want to tear it down. I've had so many theories in my mind, and it seems that it's some kind of like intricate plan of some kind of developer came in and said, I want this property, and I guess you've sold out. Our mayor is a sellout too, because at first he was like, oh, this is terrible, you know, oh, blah, blah, blah. And then he started to attack us. He won't help us, he doesn't care. I had to write him a letter, pay $11 for it to go across the street certified, okay? Because I'm wondering if abatement has already started, did you attach HEPA filters to the holes in the windows? He wouldn't give me an answer to that. He doesn't reply at all. So, what is this all about? Why is this happening? Because this building is 100 years old, more. The community wants it. People advocate for it. What happened? I don't understand. I don't understand. How much time do I have? Thank you. I'm gonna sit up here, I'm gonna take my 3 minutes because I want something to change. I walk past that building every single day. I take pictures of it every single day. I don't want to let it go. Something has to happen because the trust is gone, but it's never going to be regained. Understand that. I'm young, I'm going to have kids within what, like 10 years? My kids are not going to public school because I don't like boards that are in charge of these public schools. You're like a business now. You don't care about the community. I'm done. You know, you're bad people. You really, really are. Okay, you're a nobody destroying 100 years of history for nothing, probably for personal gain. It is what it is. Screw you.
You're welcome. Tonight you get a chance to fix the mess, or fix your mess, as Jeanette said this evening. And for more than 18 months, I think probably more than that, we have specifically warned you about that your decisions were made on bad data. Nothing, I don't even care if the new testing is it since the start of the month. We FOIA documents, we did so much research. Every time this board meets, people come here and tell you there's more that you need to consider and it hasn't been put in front of you. I can't explain why that happened, but it's clear that it did. So you made decisions, and I watched you when you voted before. I listened to what you said, and you used math as part of your equation in why you voted the way you did. I don't, controversially for my neighbors, at the end of the day, whatever happens to that property and what happens to the building, what actually matters to me the most is that you operate with integrity, that you use data to make your decisions and you listen to your community. And you stop letting your employee be offensive to us. You stop letting her lead you down a path and make decisions in piecemeal, just parts of a bigger picture. How many times have I heard the board say, we wish we had more information and more picture of our budgets and project costs? How many times have I seen little pieces of the project come forward? If I were in your shoes, most of the votes and the things that you decided to do, I understand how you got there and I understand why you voted the way you did. But the accountability of making sure that your staff that you employ is bringing you all of the data and information so that you make good decisions, that's necessary. We have what has been brought forward conflicts with the original plan, and that we knew. If that was a real surprise, okay, I get it, but it's not a real surprise. It's what was originally advised. And we had to go dig through a bunch of information in FOIA and look for everything to get that data, and you're welcome. You're welcome we did the research. You're welcome that we made sure that Eagle is paying close attention. You're welcome that the media is here and that the community is keeping an eye. because we're helping you from making major mistakes that will impact our health and can put our community at risk. And I would hate for you to do that. I like each of you. I understand it's hard to hold someone accountable that you also like and that is passionate about her job. Totally understand. But it's your job to do that. Stick up for us. We elected you to do it.
Thank you.
She didn't comment.
I was gonna say, I didn't see her, but she's not here, right?
Not
As was chair?
Yeah, hi guys. I've never been to a school meeting, but man, these things are fun. Alright, so good evening. I'm here to talk about the new policy prohibiting students from bringing their own devices to school. I want to ask you guys, what kind of computers do you guys use at work? I mean, hopefully it's reliable, fast, it's capable of handling everything you guys need to do. I would imagine it is because all of you and everyone needs a computer that works. Unfortunately, many students at West Bloomfield High School cannot say the same about the devices we've been issued. I'm fairly certain none of you are using a device like ours. In fact, I'd like to make you guys an offer right now. I'll trade you a school-issued Chromebook for whatever laptop you're using. Surely you'd be happy to use the same computer seniors in your school district use. Before you accept though, you should know you'd be getting. Let's take a look. 11 inches, non-HD screen, just 4 gigabytes of RAM. It struggles to run even basic apps like Google Docs. And a power-up and sign-in process that often takes over a minute. So, any takers? That's what I figured, because you need computers that work and so do we. It's great that the school board offers computers to students that don't have, but to limit the choices of students who do have personal computers does far more harm than good. In case you forgot, under the new policy, students are now allowed to bring their own personal computers from home, even when they are far more capable than these Chromebooks. This rule isn't helping students, it's holding us back. I'm a senior at West Bloomfield High School. I'm currently taking 6 AP classes. I'm working hard to prepare for my future, but I cannot do that effectively while being forced to use equipment that slows me down and limits what I can accomplish. So I propose to you, try using one of these Chromebooks for a week to do your own work. I think you'll find yourself wishing for your MacBook or PC back very quickly. Members of the board, your job is to support students in getting the best education possible. Right now, this policy is doing the opposite. As students, we are trying to build our futures. Please don't get in our way. Thank you.
Mr. Hoffman?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much. I think we can all agree that when this process first started, we all had incomplete information. But now we're gaining more information. And I think that in itself is a reason to say we need to put a pause on this. We need to stop this and get all the information. I have a proposal tonight, and I can assure you that if we all work together, it will address the concerns of all parties. The school board, of course, is concerned about private and charter schools, of course, dwindling enrollment. If we can solve this problem, it should help solve that problem and increase the tax base, and it'll put $2 to $3 million back in your treasury that you will not have to spend. And the public would be satisfied. It would preserve a historic school. It would renew faith in government. And the concerns about asbestos abatement would be less of a concern. If you find, I've been in the demolition business for 50 years. And I can assure you that if you rehabilitate a school or repurpose the school, you do not have to do all this abatement as if you were going to tear it down. A lot of the stuff is not friable, a lot of it can be encased, and it already is encased. It will never be a problem for anybody. But you have to abate everything when you're tearing it down, and the costs are getting, outrageous. My proposal is to set up a committee of 2 or 3 school board members, 3 or 4 people from the public, and sit down and work together to solve this problem. Another part of my proposal would be is for the group to dismiss their lawsuit against the school district so we can talk to each other. Because I've always believed you always solve all the problems you can at the lowest possible level. Do not escalate things. And I think with all the people in this room, we can come to a conclusion that will satisfy your concerns, and satisfy the concerns of the public. This will be everybody's legacy. And as I mentioned many times before, if we were in Europe, nobody would even talk to you if you want to suggest tearing down a historic structure. There were people that even safeguarded them during World War II, and they were ordered to destroy them. And they're still standing, some for hundreds of years. So I appreciate if you consider that, take a time out from this based on lack of information. Let's set up a committee, let's do this, and let's not destroy a valuable asset owned by the taxpayers. Thank you.
Tracy Hahn?
Okay, first and foremost, I'm a mother to 3 children in Cape Harbor, and I want you to know how personal this is to me. My children play in the water every day through the summer that reflects the image of Roosevelt directly on the water. That's how close we are. We play in a park that looks directly at Roosevelt every single night. It feels like our own backyard. It's our home. We've been here for 7 years. My children are scared. I'm scared. We're leaving. But not everybody has the ability to do that. The lack of transparency is what scares us the most. If you could just give us some clarity, some information about our safety, it would make a little bit of a difference. There's been no communication. Let me tell you that a huge percentage of my neighbors didn't even know there was asbestos in the building, didn't know that there was a discrepancy in how much was being abated. 15% is unacceptable. It's unconscionable. I don't understand how, I can't wrap my head around how anybody can think that that's okay. There are children in this neighborhood, and I've read comments that have been made by the district that you are continuously committed to the well-being of the children in your district. How can that be? When there is cancer-causing asbestos in this building that is not being addressed, 85% of it. 85%, is that just magically safe? The other 85% that's not being abated? How can you not address this? Directly to the community, not just the, as you call it, small group that shows up and cares. Because let me tell you, it's not a small group. Not everybody has the ability or the capacity, mentally, emotionally, or just in their time because they're busy, to show up the way that these people have showed up. Everybody feels broken down by the systems that are in charge right now across the nation. Don't let your school board be one of those systems that people can't trust. You already have lacking numbers. You're already losing trust. Like, just give us some information. Honestly, at this point for me, no change is going to make me feel safe. I'm leaving no matter what. But for the people who can't, that's who I'm here speaking for. It's terrifying. I know people personally who have died from mesothelioma, and it's an awful way to die, and I can't imagine that weight on my chest that could happen to my kids if I stay. It should terrify all of you. Because this is right now happening in Keego Harbor, but it could happen anywhere. Maybe it's not asbestos, but what if it was lead coming through your pipes in the water that your kids were drinking and you didn't know about it? Would you not be outraged? Would you not accept answers? Thank you.
Dan Elliott?
My name is Dan Elliott. I've been a resident of West Bloomfield now for 26 plus years. I would not have known about this meeting tonight without the media, and I appreciate whoever told the media it was at the high school and not here. Redirected me to the wrong place and I came here because I looked it up. My concern mainly is the fact that you guys have a fiscal responsibility to the district, to the people who pay the taxes, to do the right thing. So far, you have been physically irresponsible with your actions. You should not be approving things without fixed prices. And if it overruns that, then there should be an insurance policy at the expense of whoever's the contractor to pay for that overrun, so that the school board doesn't have to go back and fund more money. That's simple logic. That's also, as a financial advisor, which I was for a while, I would have to do as a fiscal responsible individual. Any action by you guys that isn't physically responsible, I hope it results in you're getting removed from office at the next voting time. That includes anybody who was appointed by you who does not get voted in.
Mr. Joe Manetsky? Ms. Kane, do you have any comments?
Good evening, folks. I'm Joe Nabitsky, I'm an architect. I've been in front of you before. I came here to try and help save this building when it first came to light by a friend in the local community, and I gladly showed up. At the same time, we purchased one, my wife and I purchased one in the UP in Michigan, in Alpha, Michigan, to Portage School. All I simply want to do is report to you, it's being done right now. The roofs are being finished, construction is going on, and the adaptive reuse is welcomed in the community. It's providing taxes for the city, and we're inviting the school board to take the building back in 15 years, if necessary. And I gotta tell you, I'm proud of the people in Alpha for accepting our offer, and I'm here to tell you, it can be done. This is a beautiful facility. It can be safely done, put back on the tax rolls, and give the kids their computers with the cash that you pulled from this.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. Have a nice day. I hope you change your mind and pause, reconsider. It can be done. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming out and for your public comments. We're going to move to agenda item number 3, which is our closed session for the attorney consultation regarding exempt materials. Does someone have a motion?
I move that the board meet in closed session pursuant to section 8H of the Open Meetings Act, consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute, such as section 13 of the Freedom of Information Act, which exempts from disclosure matters pertaining to the attorney-client privilege.
Have a second? Motion to go into closed to consult with attorney to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure under state and federal statute pursuant to MCL 15.26A. It's been
First and seconded.
I'm like totally like just lost my head. I'm gonna do a roll call, start with Chris.
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Yes, so we'll go to closed session. There's a lot of people here, so let's just go down the stairs. Move and they can stay. Back into open session. We have agenda item number 4 is our final appeal recommendation. Do I have a motion? Ms. Davis.
I move to deny the FOIA appeal submitted on September 3, 2025, appealing the denial of records in response to a FOIA dated August 10, 2025.
Do I have a second? Mr. Holdsworth. Motion to deny the FOIA appeal submitted on September 3rd, 2025, appealing the denial of records in response to a FOIA submitted on August 10th. Has been moved and seconded. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 6-0. And I will send out a formal letter with explanation. Agenda item number 5 is our Roosevelt Air Monitoring Approval. Dr. Danya Bazzi and Mr. Jamie Stottlemyre, Executive Director of Facilities and Operations, will address the board.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I wanted to also introduce members of our team up here on our panel. From Arch, we've got Roosevelt Austin, and we didn't pick him because of the namesake. He has a single disability. He's the manager of health there at Arch. We also have Phil Gross. He's our project consultant. And then we have Ted Stinson, he is our district facility director and also the asbestos designated person for the district. So the team is up here to answer any questions. This first proposal is for, as we've talked about, air monitoring for the project. We do this process on every job. When we demoed Chico, we did the same thing. It's just with full transparency, we wanted to bring this one to the board because we're going above and beyond with the air monitoring in this case. Normally, we only have to monitor inside the building. What we're proposing is that we monitor outside the building also. So we have monitoring stations set up on all 4 sides of the building, which are being monitored daily. We also would like to extend this monitoring through the demolition phase to, help protect our contractors in the surrounding community and make everybody, feel safe that we're doing the correct procedures here. I just wanted to mention too that Arch has been the district's environmental consultant for over 20 years. They are very trusted. They handle all of our environmental needs. I just wanted to put that out there. So what this is for it's an estimate from Arch to do the air monitoring throughout the abatement process, but also through the demolition. We have an estimated cost of $59,600. We're also asking the board to authorize that up to $70,000 total. So in case we decide that additional testing is needed in certain areas.
So to add what Mr. Stottlemyre has stated, is that when the board had decided that abatement and demolition, when they approved that recommendation, I've been in constant contact with the mayor of Keego Harbor, Mayor Fletcher. He's, advocated on behalf of this community in terms of safety and welfare. While exterior monitoring is not required, it's out of an abundance of caution that we're investing to make sure that this is specifically testing for asbestos in the air. That is daily happening, that will happen through the abatement and the demolition. So again, some of the feedback from the community was that concern. We want to make sure that people feel safe to be outdoors and know that we're doing everything in our power to ensure that the abatement is done safely. And, I echo what Mr. Stottlemyre says. Arch has worked with a number of schools. They are the experts. They work with a number of industry experts. They've done a great job for this district in terms of building renovations, construction, and demolition. And this is something where the monitoring piece, my hope is that that will put that at ease. But I will tell you, the mayor of Keego Harbor really had a lot of discussions to ensure that that would be a part of it. And of course, we were in agreement. And so those discussions are always, ongoing.
Very good. We'll start with a motion so that we can have discussion. Is there a motion? Art?
I move to approve the proposal from Arch Environmental Group, Inc. for asbestos consulting services and perimeter air monitoring based on an estimate of $59,600 with authorization to approve expenditures up to $70,000 as needed based on the hourly rates and unit pricing outlined in proposal number AE 250-760.1 dated September 2nd, 2025 per enclosure 5.
Give it a second. Dr. Hirsch. A motion to approve the proposal from Arch Environmental Group, Inc. for asbestos consulting services and perimeter air monitoring based on an estimated cost of $59,600 with authorization to approve expenditures up to $70,000 as needed based on the hourly rate and unit pricing outlined in proposal AE 250-760.1 dated September 2nd, 2025 per enclosure 5. We're going to open it to questions and comments. I'm going to start with Art, who made the motion, and we'll just go around robin so that everybody has an opportunity to have a question or comment.
I would like to move to amend the motion on the 5 by adding the following after. I move that the board declare the Roosevelt property on Cass Lake and Keego Harbor surplus and direct their superintendent to obtain an independent certified appraisal within 30 days, pause all non-safety abatement and demolition and spending, open a 45-day public sale process by issuing a request for offers and, if needed, listing with a qualified broker. 4, present any proposed purchase agreement to the board for final approval at the fair market consent with law and board. So I'm proposing for sale of the Roosevelt property.
Okay, so
I'm just gonna say point of order.
it is a point of order.
Yeah.
No, it is not. It's a point of order. Because
You were not
again,
in the prevailing side and we voted on it already, so you can't. bring the
that's
motion.
totally not true and that's not parliamentary procedures.
That is
So
parliamentary.
it is not. I am making an amendment to the motion as is my right. So the next thing is to ask for a second.
So you already voted no on a very similar motion back in September of 23?
So that does not preclude
It
my
does.
voting to, no, it does
It
not.
does, it does, it
No,
does.
it does not. No, it does
Yes, it
not.
does.
No, it doesn't. No, it does not. And if we need to call
Oh.
a certified parliamentarian.
I can make it as a motion, but I'm telling you that it does not follow Robert's rules.
Oh, it absolutely does.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
Okay. So the next question is there a second?
I'll support.
And we either vote up or we vote down.
I'm just gonna make my point. We can do all that, but I'm telling, do you have it in writing somewhere? Because I can't even write all that down.
Your
Yeah,
motion.
she's good.
Pardon me?
She's saying, do you have it ready so she can read it?
No, that's an amendment. No, that's an amendment. I always have my handy book.
Every board member has a right to vote on every motion as it comes before the board.
It's not about voting. It has to do with bringing up a past.
This has nothing
motion.
to do with past because we're discussing Roosevelt at this time.
Read it again.
So I hope this time we all listen, right? So I am choosing to amend motion of item 5 by adding the following after the existing wording. I move that the board declare the Roosevelt property on Cass Lake Road, Keble Harbor surplus, and I direct the superintendent to 1, obtain an independent certified appraisal from the Appraisal Institute within 30 days. 2, pause all non-safety abatement and demolition spending. 3, open a 45-day public sale process by issuing a request for others and for offers, and if needed, listing with qualified broker. And 4, present any proposed purchase agreement to the board for final approval at fair market value consistent with law and board policy. In this motion, we have never, wait for a second.
I did, yes.
Yeah, because in this motion, we have never had this open
It is a
for
little bit-
the abatement and demolition.
It is
This
a
is
little bit
never.
different. It is a little bit different.
It absolutely
Yeah,
is.
it is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an amendment on the table. You heard it. I can't repeat it. Next time, you should have a piece of paper that the presiding officer can read from, so I can read the paper. Do you have it? No. No, you're gonna have to send it to Liz so that she can capture it in
Absolutely,
minutes.
no problem.
It would be best practice to have that, but, so I'll open the discussion. You made the motion, so you can start. Who made the amended motion?
Yeah. So what I'd like to say in regards to the Roosevelt building is our focus has been misplaced. We are a school board. So when we think about what our charge is to do, and we've talked about it several times, it's to make sure that we are doing the best for our children, and student achievement is our North Star. So when I say that we lost our focus, if I look at the Michigan school data, and I look at a school like Doherty, where 69% of the children overall in that school are not proficient.
I think this is germane to your motion.
I absolutely do.
Okay. Let's see.
So when we look at a school like Doherty, it is our job then to provide the best for those children. So when we aren't focused on our charge, which is school, North Star, student achievement, we've spent the last hour and a half on a process that doesn't have anything to do with student achievement. And we've been doing that for the last 2 years. We have now spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on the demolition, on the proposed demolition and the abatement of Roosevelt. And these are our capital funds from our sinking funds, when there are other schools that can contribute to student achievement. We're not spending money on those things, but we'd rather take our money from the general fund, sinking fund, and our capital fund to demolish a building we don't even want, nor do we need. So we are taking that time, this effort, and spending it for what? When our students very much need our efforts in other areas. Also, we have approved a $4 million deficit in our budget. And we are fiscally responsible for our budget. So selling the Roosevelt property for approximately, who knows, because we've never marketed, but we do have offers for about $2 million, would significantly decrease our deficit so we can focus on student achievement. The last, again, our students are suffering. And from what? Because we're not focused on where they should be, on this data that comes from Michigan school data that says that our students aren't proficient. We're spending time on Roosevelt when the community has clearly indicated that they want their building back. It is a win-win to sell this building, relieve our deficit, focus on student achievement, make sure that we are spending time as school board officials on student achievement and not real estate and buildings. That's the reason why I make this motion.
Kirsten, do you have anything to add?
Can we go to other ones, because I need to.
I'm going around, so you're passing, so I'll go back
Can I
to
come
you
back?
again.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not passing.
Just
I'm-
remind,
yes.
you're passing right
Thank
now,
you.
but
Yes.
you remind me to come back to you, I
Yes.
miss you. Ash, do you have anything?
Question for Danya. Am I correct that none of the money being spent to remediate or demolish Roosevelt comes from the general fund?
That's
It
correct.
comes from the bond fund monies?
That's correct. It's not general fund dollars.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, you guys, I'm picking up my phone, I never do this, but I realize that the volume is up, so I'm turning it down. I'm putting it back down. Okay. You have something, Dr. Hirsch?
Yeah, I have a question. So right now, we're discussing and voting on the amendment, not on the.
Just the amendment, I can't read it for you.
Okay, I just want to make sure what we're doing.
Is that a question about it? No. Kirsten?
Okay. So I had a comment that would be at the next part, but the board has its responsibility to the taxpayers, and it's time that we do steer, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. It is time for us to reconsider the position in light of the data of negligence, deception, and given these circumstances, the prior vote related to Roosevelt Building should be declared null and void, I think. It is time for us to repair relationships, because positive community experiences and relationships are key to student success and achievement. Let's sell the building in its current condition. It can be done. A neighboring district just completed a similar transaction, and it demonstrated its feasibility. It really does. And as Ms. Evans had said, student achievement should always be at the center of everything. And as we look to the next agenda item as well, the spending has completely gone awry, and we need to do what's best. And so I would agree that we need to charge the superintendent with marketing and selling the piece of property.
And just one point of clarity, Trustee Holbrook did say that it's bond money. Bond money is taxpayer money. It's all our money. So when we go to vote. That is meals that are taken from us, our community. It's bond money, sinking fund money, it is our money. We have to take that money and concentrate on student achievement.
Of course, you're right, Deborah.
Yeah.
The reason I wanted to make that clarification though is that the general fund money is what's used for the teachers and the students. The bond monies are specifically tied to building renovations or new construction. I just wanted to make that clarification, and that's why I asked the question.
And that's understood too. And when we think about, again, we think about our children at Doherty. So for instance, we're looking at their reading scores and how they are not proficient.
Excuse me.
So again, when we talk
Totally
about,
inappropriate. Like, that's inappropriate, so you just have to say, please walk back to the other.
Just was focusing on
so when we
Just
talk
referred to his
about,
comments, nowhere in his comments about the bond money.
You're
Was there
not-
anything
you are
that-
not
was
part-
there
no.
anything
Sir,
said about
sir,
money for demolition?
Sir.
It said
Yes,
nothing for
sir.
demolition.
Stop, please.
You're using the bond money illegally.
No.
He just admitted it.
No.
And yes, he did, but saying it's for renovation.
Sir, you're gonna have to leave if you are gonna interrupt the meeting. This is for the board to have discussion. It is not for
The
public
board is
comment.
illegal.
Okay. Go ahead.
so when we talk about that, and I agree,
The board's a fraud.
Okay, go.
but when we talk about, again, our reading scores and our children and their proficiency, there could be a reading lab that is built with that money. There could be some type of, again, intervention that we should invest in to make sure that these students are proficient. So there's more money to spend on our students' capital improvements, as we just did with the transition center.
I think you made your point.
Yeah.
Can I add one thing, please? And so, to add on to that, so we would save the money from bonds, sinking funds, capital improvement funds, but if we were to sell that property, say we accepted a $2 million offer, that $2 million offer goes to the general fund, which directly impacts our students, our teachers, our classrooms, and so that's why I would support it.
It's two tiers.
So I'm just gonna make, I'm
I
gonna
don't
follow.
think that's accurate, though.
What?
Nancy, when we sell a building, does that go into capital improvements fund, or does that go into, can it go anywhere
It can
you
go
want
to
it?
general.
It can't go anywhere you want it. If there was any bond work done on that building and and that debt is still outstanding, then you cannot take the sale of that money and put it back into the general fund. You would have to put it into a separate capital project fund that could be used, again, to repair or maintain buildings.
And the excess would then go to the general fund?
No.
So let's. since
Yes,
we have
yes, I
the-
can, yeah,
Yes,
Yes, once the bonds
bonds
are
are
paid
paid
off, then that money could then go to the general fund. It's not a time limit, it's once the bonds are paid off, they could then go to the general
All
fund.
right, so we're totally off topic here with this, so I just want to bring us back to the amendment. But I want to make 2 points because I keep hearing a lot of mixed messages being said. One, a public school will never sell a property without publicly posting it. So anyone that brought deals, backdoor deals, talked with plaintiffs and made deals, like, the board would never, ever sell a property that was not publicly posted. I can tell you that right now. If you want to look up what happened when Farmington did Eagle, go look that up. You do not sell public school property without publicly posting it, period, and I have said it one-on-one to so many people, and I don't think it's registering. So we don't sell old equipment or old furniture without publicly posting it. That is what we do. It's because of those dollars. So I just want to make that clear. And number 2, I had another thought, and now I can't remember it. What?
We have sold 2 properties that I know of in the last 20 years. And both of them, Ely and the property was just north of the ACS building, had to go up on public, to be sold, the real estate.
No, you have to do that. You have to do that. So, and the other thing is when we sold Ely, we abated and demolished it. And quite frankly, I think after they demolished it, they did find a tunnel that was underneath the building that no one knew. These things happen through every, whether it's light construction, light remodeling, construction, demolition, that is an expected thing. If anyone that doesn't, I know I expect it. We did the preschool. They pulled up floor and they found some old tiles. It gets abated. I mean, this is normal business when you are doing renovations. So I just want to put that in the room. This is not anything that is alarming, and it's not anything that wasn't expected. So with that, I'm going to call the vote on the amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Can we have a roll call vote, please, President Griffin?
Yeah, sure. Start with you, Kristen.
Yes.
Deborah?
Yes, I'm in favor.
Nick?
No.
Art?
No.
Ashley?
No.
Stacy is a no. This is for the
Amendment.
amendment. And I'm a no, so motion fails 2-4. Now we go back to the original motion, and I will read it, I'll read it again, just so there's no
Would you like me to read it,
confusion.
Stacy?
I'll read it. The motion to approve, although Lizzie, I'm so part. The motion to approve the proposal from Arch Environmental Group, Inc. for asbestos consulting services and perimeter air monitoring based on estimated cost of $59,600 with authorization to approve expenditures up to $70,000 as needed based on the hourly rates and unit pricing outlined in proposal AE 250760.1 dated September 2nd, 2025. Per enclosure 5 we'll start taking questions on that motion. Art, you made the motion, so you can start.
Question for Jamie and Arch. I assume, well, let me ask rather than assume, was Arch involved in the middle school and the Chico abatements and demolitions?
I was here for Chico, but that was.
Yes, we were involved on all those projects.
Have there been any problems subsequently to those demolitions invested or not? All right. Chico's actually 100 yards from my house, so I appreciate hearing that. And that's what I expected. Having worked at the county for 12 years as a facilities manager, facilities director, I've dealt with this sort of thing many times. And we always count on professionals to handle these things for us because we're not the professionals, we're the when I was at the county, I wasn't the professional, I was the administrator, right? That's why we depend on professional service providers like you. That's the only comment I have.
Ms. Davis.
Kind of rewinding, so you had mentioned that interior air monitoring is required.
Correct.
So we are doing that in addition to the exterior.
Correct, we're going above and beyond by
Above and
doing the exterior just to make absolutely sure that this project is done as safe as possible.
Okay.
And you want to add to that?
No.
There you go. That covers it. So,
Yeah,
yes.
so, Arch would get the results daily, I presume,
Correct.
is what I thought I saw. And then, what would happen if a reading was identifying that there was some sort of exposure or trouble? Like, what would happen next?
Sure. Well, based off of our project coordination air monitoring, we said there's going to be daily air monitoring both on the interior and we're also going to be doing perimeter sampling. As far as the interior, if we do get some readings that are high, one associated with the workers who are doing the abatement activities, from an OSHA standpoint, one, we have to implement additional engineering controls, or we have to change the workers to different type of respirator for their protection. As far as the exterior, like I say, outside of what will be the work area, so but it's still on the interior. If we have any type of high readings, we're going to be looking at what is causing those high readings. Do we have some type of breach in our containment area? Is it something else associated with the building that could possibly be having some fibers exposed? And that's why we do area sampling. That way, if anybody's going to be entering into the building, they know that they're in a safe environment. And when I say anybody, it's also our technicians who are there doing the monitoring on a daily basis. It has been kind of a standard as of late, especially with demolition projects, to conduct perimeter sampling. It's more to be proactive instead of reactive, to show that you are taking that into consideration, that you're doing that sampling. So if somebody does ask, that data is available. With the perimeter sampling, it's seeding what would be considered a PEL level or anything like that. In 20 years of experience, I really haven't seen it, because when you're doing perimeter sampling, you're dealing with a lot of other things associated with your outside environment. But you do have that data to show.
Thank you. Ms. Douglas? Thank you for listening to our community and collaborating with that and being on the proactive side. I do have a question. You said this is daily reporting, both interior and perimeter?
Yes.
How would community members access that data?
We are going to work with the district as far as like how they want to provide that out. But we have the data on a daily basis. The whole point of having on-site air monitoring is at the end of the day, you have readings to show what took place. That's what we're there. We will have that data. How the district decides to provide that to others, but the district will have that information.
So Jamie, I'm asking, will we be providing that to our community?
Yes.
Daily?
We're not hiding it. I mean, we're.
No, I guess, right,
I
I
mean, it's been going on for 1 week. And
Yes.
so we've talked about publishing it every couple weeks of getting all, because they have the results, we don't have them yet. Once they've compiled them, they will ship them off to us, and then we'll make those available. But
Okay.
usually, we don't get notified unless there's an issue. That's when we get notified, so we haven't gotten notified yet. So it's one of those things where, we can certainly discuss what's appropriate time, but the thought was every couple weeks to collect it, compile it, and share it. But again, if there's something that's of concern in the air, we're gonna stop what we're doing to try and figure out what's going on. It's not like we're just gonna go full speed ahead. The work is going to stop so we can determine why these readings are coming in on the perimeter of the building. So, again, that data will be available and accessible.
Okay, because I have reservations about hiring ARC to conduct the air testing for this Roosevelt project. There's clear evidence that ARC made substantial mistakes during their previous asbestos testing. And so given that significance of ensuring safety, I fully support moving forward with the air testing. However, I do not support the hiring of ARC to do this task. To maintain objectivity and ensure the integrity of the testing process I think it's essential for an independent company, not ARC, to be selected to do this air testing.
I mean, when we say we should be very careful to say they made mistakes. There's no findings to that effect. They didn't make any mistakes.
They work with a lot of schools
They work,
throughout the
yeah.
whole state.
I mean, there's no report to say here's an infraction or a ticket. It's like saying, well, down you speed. You have to show the evidence of it. And so, for what they're doing, and I'll get to this, I don't want to get into this now, when we get to the abatement agenda item, I'll get to that. But there's just no basis to that claim. It's not, and I'll explain that in the abatement portion.
So I have a couple of questions, so.
Ask one, and then we'll go around again, because I want to make sure everybody has equal opportunity.
Sure. So in regards to the dollar amount, was this put out for bid?
This is a service, it's not.
So we didn't have to?
Yes.
All right. Can I ask another one?
No, write it down so you don't forget it.
I actually don't have a question because Art said exactly what I wanted to say.
Yes.
He's saying that we hire professionals that know more than we do, and that's why we
That's a
hire.
good point. Well, one thing to clarify, but no, every so often, when Arch was selected, it's through a bid process. It's through a competitive bid process, yeah.
Do you have something else?
It's already been covered, thank you.
It has?
Their contract it was before my time.
Before my time, but typically, when you go with an environmental firm, they're your you don't switch this. There's not many who do this, and so, yes, you have long-standing relationships. They're not the only company that we've worked with for a long time. So, again, I think we just have to be careful to make accusations that there's mistakes or deception. Those are gross generalizations of, I think, of the process. Abatement is something that has to be done with care through every project. And again, I don't want to bewilder this point, but we'll get to that in the next agenda item.
I guess what I can say is that I don't work a lot with, I don't work with Arch, I'm a board member, but in 2018, when the whole high school was renovated with new flooring and paint and furniture and all that, Arch was instrumental in handling all of our chemicals and science. They were unbelievable with the, I'm not even gonna know all the words, but in all of the areas where the science labs are and the venting and all that, it was incredibly, I don't even know what the word would be, Bill, but when you guys were moving all those chemicals and all the containers and making sure all of our air, I did see that in action, and I had a lot of respect for them during that time. It could have gone very bad, very easily if it was not handled with such care. So I will say that from a personal note. And I do believe that when you're dealing with asbestos and things like this, testing and where you test and how often you test and all of that matters. It doesn't mean there's negligence. It's just different form of testing and this. So, Deborah, do you have another something?
I do. In regards to the $70,000 that it says that it can't go up to, so I assume is the $11,000 a contingency then?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
For additional testing.
And so for what period is that for? Is that for, are we talking months, or it just never can go?
It's through the duration of construction, so it's through abatement and demolition of the building.
It's 328 man hours, I think, isn't it?
It's, yeah, but
It's
through-
based on unit
through-
rates,
yeah.
correct.
It's through abatement and demolition.
It's using their approved unit rates times the project duration.
Through
Is how we
completion
came
of
up
the
with that
project.
number.
So if it's through completion of the project, I don't know if is that through completion of the project, or is it to $70,000?
No, it's
Because
through,
those are two might be
it's
different.
through the completion of the project, but if there was, for some reason, it would go over that, I would come back to the board. And all, I mean, that's,
Let me go around.
yeah.
I mean,
I mean, it's estimated to not cost over that, but that's, an estimate.
Art, did you have something, and then Ashley?
We only use that 70,000 contingency if it's needed. It's not money that we just hand over.
No.
So I just wanted to clarify.
And anytime you use contingency, anything that's not used gets returned back to the.
To the fund,
fund.
bond fund.
Ashley, did you say, was that?
Clarification, it's not the, 70 is the additional, it's not an additional 70.
No, it's the
That's
70.
That's
The big-
correct.
the
I
quote-
just wanted to make sure, it's like,
Yeah.
hold up, I
The
read
quote
that.
is for 59.6 up to 70, and that extra amount is the contingency
Okay, thank you.
for additional testing.
And if some additional monies are needed, you would come back to the board.
Correct.
Let me just ask you, how are you feeling about this quote? Do you think it's gonna take more than this? I mean, I know if there's delays in abatement or demolition, it could extend.
I would say that we're fairly comfortable with that number there. And again, obviously, it's our policy that we're getting anywhere close to the number, we're gonna be in contact with you guys and say, okay, we're butting up against the number here, so we anticipate it might take another 10 days, whatever the time frame would be, but we're comfortable with that 70,000.
Okay, so I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Kristen, what'd you do? didn't
I said
hear
aye,
your
I
voice.
support higher quality.
That's right, my paper is a little bit of a mess, so just give me a minute here. Deborah, please email that to Liz.
I did.
Oh, you
She has
did
it.
already?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to agenda item number 6 is our Roosevelt abatement approval. Dr. Danya Bazey and Jamie Stoudemire
Please wait.
and our group.
And our panel of experts up here.
Thank you.
So when we started the process, we actually tested the building to NESHAP. We did additional testing, And that's when we came to the board with the $93,000 quote. Throughout this whole process, we've been working lockstep with Eagle. In fact, we just had a pre-construction meeting with them a week and a half ago on site. During this process, you know, even though NESHAP is all that's required to test and allow us to demo a building, I've been working on in construction, and I've worked with school districts for 30 years now, and I've worked on a lot of demolition projects. And typically, you test a NESHAP, you do the abatement that's required, and then you can demolish the building safely. In this case, Eagle was really concerned about the plasters. I mean, we've heard it all, it's the plaster, it's a plaster. So Arch went above and beyond and did more stringent testing. So basically, we went from a NESHAP standard to an AHERA standard, which required supplemental testing of all the plaster areas. And Phil can talk a little bit more about that. So that was requested by Eagle, so we went ahead and did the AHERA testing, which schools are not held to that standard. We only have to test the NESHAP, but we want to make sure that we're doing this safely. We want to make sure that Eagle's on board, and so we went ahead and did this additional testing. With that, a couple of the samples came back positive on the second floor ceiling and the main stairwell. And I want to mention that, you know, anything over 1% is considered asbestos-containing material. So below 1% is you don't have to handle it as asbestos. These tests came back at 2% chrysotile asbestos, which is still, I mean, obviously we're going to deal with it. So with that additional AHERA testing, we have to abate the second floor ceiling and the stairwell, and that was quoted at $43,240 from EME. Now keep in mind, that's using their $80 an hour rate, which when we first bid out the project, we also captured those unit prices, and they were the lowest per hour rate out of the 3 contractors that bid that first phase. So they are holding to that dollar amount, that unit price, in order to come up with this quantity. So if we look at it, essentially they're going to abate an additional 2,300 square feet of plaster ceilings from the second floor hallway and the stairwell. The stairwell, obviously, it's a 2-story stairwell. They have to get lifts and stuff up there. So this also includes removal and demo of the steps below so that they can get scissor lifts and equipment up to safely do that abatement. What we're asking for additionally is that we increase a contingency up to $130,000 for additional testing. As we, like I said, we're working hand in hand with Eagle on this process. So that's where we're coming back to the board.
150.
Pardon?
150. You
I
said
said
130.
I said what?
130.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, $150,000 extra. And once again, like we put at the end of the recommendation, we will return to the board if needed. But we're confident after all the testing, and Phil, you can attest to that we have gone above and beyond on this project to make sure that we're doing this safely.
So I want to, because I'm
something?
listening,
Yeah.
well, I'm presenting with him, so
Oh, yeah.
that, I wanted to make sure to share this point, because there's been a lot of discussion of why wasn't a contingency placed in March of 2024. The district voted to demolish the building in September of 2023. That was far beyond there was any discussion of how much is it going to cost, bids. Basically, once the decision was approved, we waited until March to present those competitive bids. The recommendation was never dependent on a cost, because that's not in the people's best interest. If there's asbestos, we're going to abate it. So it doesn't mean that the decision was never contingent on saying, well, only if there's this much asbestos. The district was always committed to abating the building properly and doing it the right way. We're following the data as the tests come in and provide indication of asbestos. That's what will happen. Now the question comes that I've received is, why in March didn't you put this abatement? Again, the whole point was the contingency, I'm sorry. Why didn't we put the contingency in March? Again, I had no issue to come back to the board if those costs were to increase. It was in the spirit of transparency that this is what we know it to be today, if testing, you know, we were asked specifically, well, what if there's more? Well, if there's more, we'll abate it, because that's what you're legally required to do. So the idea of, that's why the contingency wasn't provided. We are into the second week of work. The abatement has started. So right now, we're bringing you things right now, we are bringing things to you to allow it to continue under the safest circumstances. That's not gonna change. We've entered into a contract based on a board decision, and the abatement is right now is ongoing. So that's why we brought to you on this additional contingency. Again, like we said, we're continuing to work with Eagle. If testing determines something different, we want to be able, we don't want to have to wait to abate. We want to abate it as soon as we're aware of it, and that's the recommendation.
So this is the recommendation based on testing, but to be able to provide the board with the information, there's been a lot of discussion, you know, where Eagle had said they recommended the whole second and third floor, even though that is not required, it's not, as we said, we went to the higher, more stringent testing of AHERA. We did provide the board with the quote of what it would take to do the entire second and third floor of the building, and that is $668,500, once again, based on those unit prices. So we wanted to provide the board with that information.
Do you have a motion? Ashley?
I move to approve the change order with environmental maintenance engineers and leave for the additional second floor hallway cluster ceiling and central stairway abatement work at Roosevelt Elementary School for a time and material cost not to exceed $43,240, and further approve the allocation of $150,000 of additional contingency funds for the Roosevelt project for inclusive service.
Do you have a second? Mr. Holdsworth? A motion to approve the change order with environmental maintenance engineers for the second floor hallway plaster ceilings and central stairwell abatement work at Roosevelt Elementary School for a time and material cost not to exceed $43,240, and further approve the allocation of $150,000 in additional contingency funds for the Roosevelt project per enclosure 6. So we'll open up for questions and comments. We'll start with, Ashley, we'll start with you.
Okay, so there's data to support that we have to do the 43,000 on the second floor in the first one. We then have the quote to do the entire second and third floor, but data does not support that. It needs to be abated at this time. So worst case, extreme scenario, which doesn't sound like it's expected, would be the 660, or 660. Do we have the funds to do that available if we needed to?
We do have the funds available in the bond to address those. If that would mean that every single, that would be an extreme situation. And I just want to clarify, Eagle did not recommend. They suggested it on a visit and a walkthrough prior to even getting their sample testing back,
which
were all negative. Okay, if it's like I said, if it's a mandate, trust me, it would be a mandate.
The reason I ask is just so that the community understands that if it came to that we had the funds available if necessary. Can I ask another question, or should I go around?
Can you wait? Let's do one at a time. Art? We'll go this way this time. Art?
I just wanted to make two comments. One, I trust Danya and I trust Jamie that if any additional remediation is identified by Arch or Hawk as the demolition begins, that you're going to bring an estimate back for any additional remediation to the board, and we'll vote on it at that point in time. The other thing I wanted to comment is that this resolution is showing that the process that is normally followed is working. As a need arises, as it's identified, the cost is estimated and brought to the board. When I was at the county's facilities director, we had a health center that we had to renovate. And after a few days, some internal walls had been brought down and there was black mold discovered on the outer wall. So we did testing around the rest of the building, and guess what? There was black mold throughout the entire building. Okay? So the entire inside of the building was gutted, the cost estimate came back for the remediation, it was an additional $500,000, and it was funded, and we did all that additional work. Took additional time to finish the project, but we did it. Again, we're a public, the county is a public entity, just like the school district is, you have to do that. And we would if that's, turns out to be the case here. However, being fiscally responsible, you do things based on actual tests, actual findings, and actual recommendations. You don't do on, well, maybes. That would be fiscally irresponsible. And that's all I'd like to say.
Yeah, so I just want to get this right. We're expecting it to cost $43,240, and it's just, if we need more, we have up to $150.
That's correct.
Okay, and second, if we do go into that need, anything in that 150, the board is notified.
That's correct, they're notified.
So again, I want to say a couple things from the standpoint of, I know Trustee Somerville here said that, Douglas, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
We know.
Sorry about that. That we changed this time for review instead of approval. Because this takes, again, for the approval, this takes understanding. So this takes time to marinate, to understand, to go through, to look. And you mentioned, President Rickman, that there were no questions because we need to hear so we can understand, so we can make decisions, because we're making the decision. So we didn't have that time, and we don't have that understanding, and the data still seems a bit incomplete for me. When we talk about the March of 2024 meeting, $93,000 was approved in that meeting. So now we're adding another $43,000 with a $150,000 contingency. So 93 plus 43 means there's $136,000. We're not, this is just not 43 because we've already approved 93. So it's not just 43. We, in approving this 43, would now be at 136 already. Then this 136, we're saying we're going to put another 150 for contingency. So, I mean, we're clear up to 400 before we even get to the 600. So we're talking about $1 million. And that math doesn't math for me. Because we're still talking about $1 million, while it may seem that it's just capital money, it's our money. It comes out of our home. It's my neighbor's money. Her money, my money, your money, your money. So when we talk about spending an additional $1 million to abate a building that we don't want and we don't need, and we talk about, again, student proficiency being our North Star, we could take that $1 million and build a reading center. I'll go back to that. Build something for mathematics. Build an additional robotics center, because that is our money. And just to have it go down into a hole that we don't understand, as far as why we're even doing all of this when we could sell the building, the community wants their building back, I can't understand. So it leaves me to add the numbers, 93 from 24, 43 now, we had 136, plus 150, then an additional 6. That's adding up to about $1 million for me. And that's just on abatement. I can't support it.
So I go back to the whole Board of Education norms, that our work is a dynamic process and therefore is always room for review and positive change. So I hear that the board approved the demolition of this building, but the scope and the parameters continue to change, okay? I've had the privilege of serving the community as a Board of Education trustee for only 8 months so far. And in my term, I've heard from at least one community member at each of the meetings, whether it's a study session, a special meeting, or a regular board meeting, okay? At August meeting, we heard from 12 community members all around the Roosevelt, concerns around Roosevelt. Most of them were about the asbestos abatement. My question is, if there wasn't a credible threat, don't we have the obligation to investigate it and do it properly? Not because we're required to, but shouldn't we? And so moving forward throughout, without thoroughly reviewing it and in reviewing new information, that would make us negligent. And so when you say you didn't receive questions, I did. I emailed on 9/5 asking for clarity, and 2 of the questions that I posed were, 1, why are the facts regarding the asbestos levels not being rebutted? And then 2, is this really still the correct path forward, fiscally and environmentally? I did not receive a response. And so when we rewind a minute, and I go back to what Ms. Evans said, right? In April of 2024, the Board of Education at the regular meeting heard the specifications from the Roosevelt Project Manual, specifically ARCH's asbestos report dated 8/2023, where it was shared with the board, and it quoted that ARCH identified 65,000 square feet of asbestos-containing materials. Now fast forward, right? They said that they were only going to abate 9,000 square feet. Okay, so the decision was made, but now you're coming back and asking for more money, okay? I feel that the board was deceived. The data was manipulated so that the project could go forward, knowing, and it was forecasted in 2 meetings, that you would be coming back in front of us asking for more money. It was forecasted in the March of 2024 meeting, as well as the April of 2024 regular board meeting. With the seasoned superintendent, and Jamie, you just stated that you have over 30 years of experience, and with multiple consultants involved, it was proposed that it would only cost us $93,000 to abate this building, right? An amount that even a board member stated was obscenely low, and then, like I said, forecasted that we would be back at this board table. Well, we are, and I'm actually shocked that you would even consider proposing this recommendation rather than going, I don't think this is fiscally responsible, board, and I'm going to suggest that we go elsewhere, okay? Your new abatement amount is over 200% of the original, and you're not even 100% confident that you won't be back here for more. At this point, it's not the same project, it's not the same scope, okay? With the current fiscal situation that our district is in, and we have a deficit, and also with the uncertainty of governmental funding, I can say for certain that this is not the right way that we need to be moving forward. Again, we need to be focusing on our student achievement and using funds that will directly impact the student achievement. I too did the math like Ms. Evans did, right? And right now, that math doesn't include it, and we haven't even started testing the roof. And so that's a concern to me that we might see that coming back. And so I was hoping that we were gonna have a review, so I didn't have these additional questions, right? But what is the total encompassing total, like what's the encompassing total for this abatement demolition project? What is that total dollar amount? That's, and not limited, but includes legal fees, consultant fees, insurance fees. Do you have that dollar amount? And where is that, what's the funding sources drawing from? You say bond, but which bond? Okay, and then lastly, how is that money, how do you justify that that is directly improving student achievement? And I'm happy to pause for a minute so you can answer those questions, because I have one brief comment afterwards.
Yeah, I think we can get you those numbers after all of those numbers have been presented to the board. But in terms of the demolition and the abatement, you have those numbers. What's before you?
Our architectural fees were.
Yeah, well, this agenda item is for the changeover. So I'm gonna answer questions related to that. If you want historical knowledge, you can set up a time to meet with me, we can have those discussions.
I just have one question. I think I need to fill in this one question.
Yes.
Stacy has a question.
Yes, I'm
There's a
sorry.
lot of talk about there's asbestos in 65,000 square feet.
Mhm.
Isn't, And tell me if I'm wrong or clarify,
Yeah.
but I remember that is the identifying what you needed to test initially. Am I wrong with that assessment?
Essentially, so, yeah, in the original report, there was 65,000 of square feet identified there. Okay, that is correct.
That tested positive?
No.
Or that you were
No,
testing?
It was, at that point, it was assumed, okay? So we had positives in the original report. We did additional testing throughout basically all the second and third floor of the building. Every single wall, every single ceiling, and every single room. And identified that you only had positives in the areas that we indicated, resulting in $93,000 in our specification grant.
Okay, so 65,000 square feet did not test positive for asbestos.
Correct.
That is where you went back and did the knee shaft testing, and now it looks like O'Hara? Is that pronounced right?
Yeah, so essentially, okay, to be clear, our original inspection was a knee shaft inspection.
Right.
Okay, we did supplemental testing pursuant to that in testing all of the rooms. It was still falling under the guise of being a knee shaft inspection. So what Jamie referenced earlier, as far as the AHERO testing, we did that as per a general recommendation from Eagle. Okay, so that's kind of where we're getting everything up to date.
Thank you for clarifying that, Ms. Davis.
Did you guys test the roof?
Yes, we have. No, it was attested originally, and it was actually recently retested, and again, as per the request of Eagle. And again, nothing wrong with what we did originally. They just requested more testing, and that report was actually provided, sent out today, actually. But the
And
testing
then-
was, go ahead.
I believe Eagle also tested it. Wasn't that one of the
Eagle did test the roof when they were out here as well during their testing of April 24
And
test.
their results were negative.
Correct.
Can I ask more question? Okay, are we using the appropriate, like, HEPA filters and negative pressure environments and all those types of things?
Yes, that's all basically part of our specification. That's all outlined. So basically, we have all the containment set up with negative air machines, filtering the air before it goes out into the environment. So basically what ends up happening is you have that machine, and you have the air going in one side of it. We have a flexible tubing on the back side of it after it's been filtered, and that's what's going outside of the air.
But the filters are HEPA
The
filters.
filters are HEPA filters, yes. So,
Sorry, do you have something else?
Just a clarification, with what was approved before for remediation, plus the two resolutions tonight, we're somewhere around $150,000 range that we're committing to spend. Plus, there's an additional contingency that we don't spend unless absolutely necessary. So Deborah, I just wanted to make that point because that additional $600,000 is not something that we have committed to spend any money on because at this point in time it's not necessary.
But it is identified as a possible spend. So when we talk about, and again, thank you for bringing it up. So when we talk about, again, looking at numbers and approving numbers, just that as we did in 2024 with the $93,000 bid, it was asked then, again, do you have enough information? And we approved that, saying, and if we need more, we're gonna come back. But we can always
Which
come.
we did.
Yeah, well, they're here now, but we can always come back to the board, but in what pot? So we, again, our taxpayer money isn't an unlimited pot to tear down a building. It just isn't. That money is for other reasons that tie to student achievement, not to demolish a building that we don't want and that the community wants. So when we talk about spending that money, certainly they have to come back. We approved $93,000. We are asking now for another $143,000. That's $136,000. And we also are approving a contingency. Once that contingency is approved, that means they don't have to come back for the additional $150,000. that is for, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's if you continue to go over, you don't have to come back to the board. So really, that's almost $300,000 that we will be approving at this time, because if they need it, that's what a contingency is for, they'll spend it. But also, thank you for letting us know that there's $668,000, because if that's not enough, they're gonna come back to the board. So while the process may work to come back to the board, it is my concern that we don't have an unlimited amount of money. And even if we think we do, we should be doing whatever we need to do for student achievement. So if that $1 million can go to something innovative for our children who are now struggling and been identified as not proficient, let's take that money and do something that is tied to our students. Tearing down Roosevelt is not.
Okay, I have a question about stormwater. What is it, what do we need with doing a water demolition? What certificates or do we need for the groundwater or the stormwater runoff and all that? Just while you're here. I'm thinking Part 31 or something, right? I looked at mine. Can anyone talk to that?
I personally can't talk,
You can't talk to that?
that's not
That's not your division?
my
Okay.
expertise. I know that was discussed previously with our clean water team,
Okay.
and so they have all their ducks in a row as far as that. They've had been in
And
conversation.
Jenna from their team is the expert on that.
Right. Yeah.
Can you share that with the board just so that they have the working knowledge? It doesn't need to be tonight, of what happens with the water and that process, just so that they are informed of, and they can answer any questions
Yes.
regarding that? Is that okay? Okay, and the other thing I want to ask is what floor are you abating right now?
We're on the third floor.
You are starting on the third floor
And working their way down.
and working their way down.
Nick had a question.
I just want to say, Deborah, that Jamie did say that if they went into that $150,000 contingency,
I think we're,
Yeah, we'd be notified, yes.
But we've already approved it.
Information.
Yeah,
So it would be
The other
already
thing-
approved with this vote.
The other thing is this is a time and material not to exceed, so that $43,240 is a not to exceed price. EME, the district has worked with them for many years, and they're always fair, and there's a potential that can come in less too, depending on how quick they get that work done.
I think we're ready.
I have one more question. So you said the roof was tested and stuff like that. So fast forward, because I've heard the community say that they're concerned about an emergency demolition because of stuff that has been found, and so then everything has to be watered down. And with the building being so close to Cass Lake, so you're confident that that's not going to come before the board? You won't be asking for emergency demolition?
As it pertains to the roof.
I don't know, I'm
Oh,
asking,
yeah.
right? Like, I'm not in construction. So I'm saying is this is something that we've heard from our community. I represent the community, and so I'm just asking.
No, I mean, we're doing the asbestos abatement part of it, so it's all the interior associated with it. Based off the demolition that's going to be handled by the demo contractor, there are engineering controls that he has to put into place associated with his demolition activities. There have been discussions with our stormwater team associated as far as like what has to be done as far as, because they're going to be using wet methods as far as misting to help control the dust, controlling runoff and things like that. That has all been addressed between our stormwater and the demo contractor. From my understanding, that previous meeting, they had submitted all the needed permits for that work.
And I believe AUK manages that as
Yes,
well,
that is
right?
right.
AUK,
That's part of
And they
it.
just did Chico.
Right.
Yes, AUK was working with International on that as far as getting all their
The
ducks in a
demo
row.
part, okay.
Yes.
All right. So all those in favor say aye. Do I need to read it again, or are you guys good? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Motion passes 4-2. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Liz,
Appreciate you being here.
Liz, do we need the screen up anymore?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we need a screen.
Listen and review.
Agenda item number 7 is our occupational therapy for kids approval. You guys, let's focus down. Oh, we're gonna take a 3-minute break because people. All right, so it is 9:55. We're gonna continue on with agenda item number 7. It's our occupation, 8, sorry, can't read the clock. Occupational therapy for kids approval. Mr. Scott Long, Assistant Superintendent for Learning Services, and Dr. Jessica Cohn, Director of Student Support Services, will address the board. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you so much for having us this evening. I'm really excited to be with the one and only Dr. Jessica Cohn, who does a great job in Student Support Services. She was equally excited to be here for this recommendation, which is for occupational therapy for kids. With that said, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Cohn, and I'll be your slide clicker.
Thank you. Okay, we are here tonight to seek board approval for increases over time for occupational therapy services. You may recall last time Scott presented on PT services, physical therapy. The different physical therapies are gross motor, mobility, moving around the school buildings. OT focuses on our daily living skills such as fine motor tasks, eating, sensory needs. So this company is called OT for Kids. We have a long-standing relationship, I think over 30 years in West Bloomfield. The district is, legally required to provide occupational therapy services to our students who require it. We do require a doctor's prescription, and then there needs to be a school-based connection to function within the school environment. So under the Public Health Code and Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, contracting with OT for Kids ensures that our services are delivered by our licensed professionals, which is required under the law. This arrangement is cost effective, allowing us to pay for that expertise without contracting new employees to the district. We do have a total of 3.5 FTE spread over 7 different OTs over our buildings. We service our early on program in the K up through our adult transition program for our services.
You covered all that ground on those 2 slides.
Okay.
I believe so.
Yes.
But I can backtrack if you'd like.
And the services offered aren't just the direct services to students. They also consult with our team, do diagnostic evaluations, observation, consultation. They do training with our teachers as well to build capacity across the district. OT for Kids is a private company. Like I said, we've contracted with them for over 30 years. They do a fantastic job, very committed to our district and our students, and really have been able to follow them over time throughout their educational careers. The total cost that we are seeking board approval for is not to exceed an additional 10% of the current amount, which is $344,560.
Well, that's a typo. This is 334. What is
Which
the
is
real
the actual
number?
number?
344,
Oh, I'm sorry.
correct?
Yes, 344,000.
All right, so I think our motion's wrong.
Gotta make the
Okay.
motion properly.
So whoever makes the motion, make sure they make it, you want to make the motion? Okay, so I'm calling for motion and Dr. Ursus is making the motion.
Okay, then I have a question.
No,
But
that's
no,
just when we
I
type the
know, I know.
motion, it's
Oh,
not
okay.
you guys.
All
It's
right.
not you,
us.
it's
It's
what's typed on our
it's me,
motion.
not you.
It's me, not.
I move to approve the occupational therapy for kids as long as the cost does not increase by more than 10% of the current amount for eligible students birth to 26 years at an annual cost of $344,560 per enclosure center.
Do we have a second? Kirsten, a motion to approve occupational therapy for kids as long as the cost does not increase by more than 10% of the current amount for eligible students birth to 26 years at an annual cost of $344,560 per enclosure 7 has been moved and seconded. We'll open up for questions or comments. Nick, we'll start with you since you made the motion.
You know, that was good because I finally learned what occupational therapy is. But why do they call it occupational therapy if it just means fine motor skills?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, it's your daily living. I think of like occupation, your daily
Like
living
eating and
skills.
drinking.
Yeah, it's eating, it's sensory.
Right.
But I mean, that's just my take on it.
The expert's take.
Deborah, do you have anything? I'm gonna go
I
around.
don't, but thank you so much for the explanation. What was it?
Kirsten?
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. I 100% support.
Ashley. Art, got anything? The only thing I have to say is, after my accident with my foot, the OT saved my life. Like, I don't think I could have showered or got up the stairs ever if I did not have someone to share with me. So it's so important, so I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much, Dr. Nolan
Thank you.
and Mr. Long. Agenda item number 8 is our JNS lease extension approval. Dr. Donnie Bazin, Jamie, you're back up.
Jamie, I can take this one because I
Okay.
covered this when, you know.
I'm going, I'm sitting back down.
Right, okay.
So basically, as you know, we had rented space for the Adult Transition Center as well as adult education at the JNS location on Orchard Lake. We're at the point where we are now into basically the last 5 years of a renewal availability with that contract. Out of an abundance of caution, we're bringing it to the board. It's the original lease agreement was through 2030, but you have to exercise an option to execute that. And so this is before the board. This is only for the adult education program. So like your English language learner classes, your adult programming. So
it's the front of the building.
It's, yeah, basically we rented 2 spaces, one for the 18 to 26 transition program and one for the adult education program that Dawn Hadford oversees. They've been in that space since 2015. The original lease agreement, already specified the cost all the way from 2015, all the way predicting what it would be from 25 all the way to 2030. The good thing about this lease is that it's really written in a way that's mutually, it's beneficial to the district. You can, after 6 months, opt out, but the cost included, I included to the 2015 agreement. It's exactly the same as what was agreed to in 2015 of what the cost would be from 2025 to 2030. So all it is a continuation of the program in its current space.
Okay, so I need a motion for start discussion. Ms. Davis?
I move to authorize the lease extension with Royal Management Company for adult education programming in Suite 100 at 7071 Orchard Lake Road for a 5-year period as permitted by the current lease party closure date.
Go a second. Okay, so motion to authorize the lease extension with Royal Management Company for adult education programming in Suite 100 at 7071 Orchard Lake Road for a 5-year period as permitted by the current lease per closure 8 has been moved and seconded. We'll open it up for any questions or comments. We'll start with you, Ashley. You make the motion.
I don't really have any questions, but I support it.
No? Kirsten, you have anything? Keep going back and forth, reversing.
Question, my question is, historically, this wasn't, because I heard the transition, so I just assumed that was what was in that building. So it's separate, and so there was no talk before, because I thought that was what was coming off, was that we weren't gonna have to lease that building, so I'm
For
kind of.
transition.
For transition, there are
Okay.
2 separate lease costs.
It's a lot smaller, the one in the front.
Okay.
It's like a 4-room office.
ESL.
Okay, I appreciate
Yeah.
that, thank you
Yeah.
for clarifying.
So the other space was 5,652 square feet. This space is 3,032 square feet.
Yeah.
And there was a cost to lease, for example, like the cost to lease the other space would have been this year 104,000. So that's what came off the books.
Okay, thank you.
Deborah?
So I'm clear, we have a special ed, adult ed, transition is now in the high school, so we're looking at the 37,000 cost?
Oh, it's 42,448. That's what's shown for the 2025-2026 school year.
Okay. And again, I apologize, because I'm not,
No, that's all right.
I'm not 42,448, and that's just for adult ed.
Correct.
So that was the motion that was on the floor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Very good, thank you.
Dr. Hirsch?
Yeah, that's a really good rental rate, by the way, $14 a square foot.
Well, I'm very happy
No, I
that they've
remember the
honored the same
negotiating
agreement
phase.
since.
And this helps the adult ed and, the English as a second language.
Yep.
And that program, just to be clear, you just made me think of it. Adult ed is fully funded through a grant. So what we bring in terms of funding, is what we spend. So the lease, staffing, all of that is covered under the adult ed grant. It's kind of like a break-even type of program. It's a good community service, so you guys,
No, it's
jumbled
perfect.
that, yeah.
I was just gonna ask, what's the funding source, so thank you for clarifying that.
And I fully support
You have anything?
What's the long-term plan for locating adult ed?
You know, for now, it's there, because you really don't want adults coming in and out that are not associated with the school, like a parent or volunteers. So you really don't want a program that has 30, 40, 50 years old with students in a particular building. There is some discussion, though, to look at Abbott in the future, because central office will be there, but it's also our plan to do preschool. Yeah, but we're gonna have preschool to some extent. We would have to be able to ensure that it's like a completely separated entry, which we will certainly investigate, yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes 6-0. Agenda item number 9 is our Oakland Schools Business Residency Review. Ms. Nancy Hoover, Executive Director of Financial Services, will address the board. We really haven't had a walkthrough there. We can arrange that for the board to maybe go in one night.
You can, it's usually gonna be in the evening.
Yeah, but because it is really cool, like watch.
Absolutely.
It's nice to see.
Okay.
Thanks, Ms. Hoover.
So Oakland Schools, being our partner, has identified, along with 28 districts in Oakland County, has identified that there is a need for additional business officials. They've also done this with HR, but that's another story. So what they have done, they have started, about a year and a half ago, they started a residency program where they employ people that they are putting out in districts. They give them training, as well as they put them out into districts for internships. Each individual gets 3 internships, and to help basically train up the new people that will come in and take over the jobs of those current business managers, or fill positions that become open. We've had a hard time filling these positions. So we agreed to collaboratively work with Oakland Schools, and we would like to have an intern come in. They would start October 6th, and they would work through May in our business office alongside us, learning. There's a schedule set out on what they're supposed to learn in each step of the internship. So this is solely paid by Oakland Schools. This is free service to us, so it's a little extra help. So we're asking that you approve this.
That'll come to the board at the next board meeting.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, she has questions.
Just a comment, that thank you for doing this, because I know having trainees under you is extra work, frankly. But what a gift to any of those interns that get to work under you, because you're so knowledgeable in this. It would be a privilege for them to work with you, so that's an awesome experience that you're going to be providing, or we will hopefully be providing.
And everybody in the building will be
Yeah.
involved a little bit.
Anyone else have anything? I applaud you, 1, and 2, Oakland Schools for doing this, because statewide, there is a tremendous need for business managers, business office, and anything we can do in Oakland County to support that, I think that's a wonderful thing. So, thank you for that.
Quick question, who bears the cost, Oakland Schools or?
Oakland Schools.
Love it.
And thank you for taking your time with that. So we'll bring this to the board at the next board meeting. If there's no other questions. Okay, agenda item number 10 is our budget to actual, and Ms. Hoover will once again present.
No, it's on a different tab.
Oh, sorry. actual for August, I put August 25th. I think I must have been beginning of the year at the same time. Look out. So that's August.
I never know the year. I
So
think it has something to do with big school.
So it's August, so this is as of August 31st, 2005. We are very similar to where we were last year, very close. The first line, local revenue, majority of that is property taxes. And again, that's a function of when we receive those taxes from our taxing authorities. So we're actually a little ahead in collections as of August 31st this year. Non-business services, we have spent a little more. Last year, we actually had a person that we were contracting with through Oakland Schools that was paid on a quarterly basis. We now have employees that we pay. So last year, we hadn't paid that first quarter until into September, so we've spent a little bit more at this point. Operations and maintenance, we're also a little ahead. This is because this year it includes the July and August EM Burr payment. Last year, we were a little behind in payment on those. And then the last one is other essential support services. The current year, this one includes the first year. Again, we pay for technology through an IGA through Oakland Schools. The current year includes the first quarter payment with Oakland Schools. It also includes a MyPeer consortium payment. That's the payment for our financial system. And in the prior year, these were not paid until the second quarter. But overall, we are right on track where we were last year.
Any other questions?
Thank you for what you do, you're good at what you do.
Can I just ask, an off-the-wall kind of just concern? If the government shuts down, and we know that it'll probably be short acting if they do shut down in Lansing, do we have enough cash flow if our first state aid payment for the year gets held up?
So we don't normally get our first aid payment of the year till October 20th. So
Right.
of course, we will make it till October 20th. But as you can see, if you look at our budget actual, we actually get local revenue of about $14 million. So that money, we should have probably at least 12 of it by the end of September. So that will help to tide us over. I'm currently working on a cash flow. Donnie and I Dr. Bailey and I have discussed that. But preliminarily, I think that we could make it probably till the middle or the end of December.
Okay, so, yeah, that's good to hear, because I was at MASB Government Relations, and there was a lot of people in that room that don't have the fund balance that we have, which is very concerning for them, but they said, as long as it opens, if the government has a budget and everything, and opens by October 10th, that they could still make the state aid payment for October 20th. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was what
Yes,
the conversation was.
it's usually calculated by October 10th.
Okay.
It takes them that long to get it out there, and
Sure.
we're paying over 800 districts, so
Yeah,
it takes them a little while, but yeah, as long as they get it
okay,
to that point, then we'll get it. But we'll definitely make it till November.
okay,
That would not be a problem.
all right, thank you for that. And I hope that everybody's reaching out, even though our legislators are supportive of getting a budget. We still have to keep the pressure on our legislators in Lansing to not have a shutdown. So, okay, you have something?
Yeah, that was gonna be my
Oh, wait,
question
okay.
in regards to any news on the state budget,
There's none.
just like none.
There's none. There is none, absolutely none. It's terrible.
How encouraging.
That's ridiculous.
We'll be fine. I mean, I think it will shut down, but I think it'll only be short, but who knows?
I'm looking forward because I know this is something that the community asked for and I don't know who it goes to, but the meals.
So the meals, unfortunately, if there's a shutdown, and Nancy, correct me if I'm wrong, what we've been communicating out in our newsletter is that
September 30th, because I know
30th
you're
was the
making
last
that
day,
decision,
yeah.
so, okay.
September 30th and basically October 1st, it would go to a pay system because that's, am I correct to say that's what we're covered through in terms of the reimbursement?
So we're just making sure everyone knows that. That's, okay, thank you.
I know I've seen it in many.
I mean,
I saw that there was gonna be a decision, but then I haven't seen anything,
Yeah.
so,
We'll
thank you.
make sure it's in the newsletter.
Thanks.
So just a question on the meals, so again, from the state budget, again, because it's up in the air or whatever, but let's say if, when they do order the budget, they come back and say, hey, meals are included, then we would institute right now?
Right away, yeah.
Okay, so no delay on that?
And right now, we have it through September 30th.
That's correct. So that's why it's, like you guys said, it's important to keep advocating.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Nancy. Ms. Hoover? Agenda item number 11 is our enrollment update. Ms. Johanna Lorekna, Assistant Superintendent of Administration and Innovation, will address the board.
Good evening. I have some preliminary enrollment information. Just as a precursor, this is based on head count, not on FTE, because count is not until October 1st. So this is just to give the board a little bit of an idea of where we are. Count day will be October 1st, and then that count will be audited over the following few months, and you'll get an updated actual FTE numbers after that. In terms of our head count, you can see for the 25-26 school year, our total head count, our SOC and non-resident enrollment, and then our kindergarten. Just as a note, the FTE, the head count includes ACS, Project Search, our transition center, our BLAC students, the high school and middle school, our 4 elementary schools, OEC, IA, the Laker Opportunity Center, and Our Lady of Refuge. And as a reminder, not all of those count as a whole FTE, because for things like refuge, we only provide an hour or 2 of instruction a day. So those end up in our FTE, counting as less than a full FTE. You can also see registration is ongoing. It's always ongoing. Registration happens year-round. Students move in and out of the district nearly every day. But as of the date of pulling this information, we still had 51 students who were in the queue, so those are being put in. The documentation is required before they fully enroll. Our enrollment trends continue to look similar to what we had predicted. Our head count has gone down a little bit. Our SOC has gone down percentage-wise every year. And our kindergarten is really beginning to level off. There's a little bit of a bump last year, but it really is starting to level off over time. So you can see here we had a little bit of a bump in 24-25. If you look at kindergarten enrollment in 25-26 and 23-24, it's pretty similar. We did have a little less SOC spots this year. So overall, starting to level up. This is just a graphical slope lines for the same information. We are starting to see that leveling off of the overall kindergarten with about the SOC percentage. Here you can see by grade level, this includes just our K-12 students. So this does not include any of our shared time or special program students. This is just our K-12 enrollment. So these are students who are in our schools. Kindergarten, first grade, all the way up to 5th grade. You can look at the cohorts from the previous year. You can see that we have attrition every year. We do track that attrition, and students move for all kinds of reasons. Typically, in the early grades, it's because they're actually moving somewhere else out of the city to another city. At the 5th grade level and at the 8th grade level, one of our reasons for attrition is going to private schools, so we track that as well. This of schools of choice and non-resident students. A reminder, the non-resident students are mostly our employees' kids. We have lots of employee kids in the district. Some of them are SOC as well, their parents SOC them into the district, but many of them are non-resident students who come with their parents to school. So that gives the percentages for each of the grades. They vary a little bit. Sometimes there's a little bit of a fluctuation, but overall they're holding fairly steady. The biggest difference this year, which we noted last year and has come to fruition, is that really big senior class graduated. So now we're down to more of a normal sized senior class. The 12th grade class is always larger because that includes our students from OEC and our students from Laker Opportunity Center as 12th grade count. So it's not just West Bloomfield High School. So these numbers are fairly even as well in both middle school. Middle school's actually gone up a little bit, and I have a slide on that as well. High school's holding steady. Excuse me. You can see the SOC and non-resident percentages for each of those grade levels this year. Those are listed in the table, as well as the historical data for the previous 2 fiscal years as well. Our average SOC in the district continues to go down. It's gone down by approximately a half to a percentage point every year. And that trend continues as well this year. Again, enrollment is incomplete, but from this point on, most of the enrollments will be new residents that move into the district. So it'll be resident enrollment, not SOC. West Bloomfield Middle School is our newest school. So we have continued to track what's happening with new resident enrollments at that school as a study. We will switch over to Chico once Chico opens and is our newest school. So next year we'll start tracking this data at Chico. But we really want to see why are we having an increase at the middle school in resident enrollment, and where are they coming from? And this table shows where they're coming from, our new students. So, for example, 24 people moved to West Bloomfield, new to Michigan, and sent their kids to West Bloomfield School.
We have a lot of other, what's over?
Those are things like they came from homeschooling, that type of thing. Sometimes a virtual school.
And what's academies?
Academies.
Academies. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
Charter schools or private school? Charters.
Charters, yep. Our preschool enrollment is up, which is great. We have a lot more GSRP slots, which is wonderful. We have 174 slots available, and as of the time of pulling the data on 9/9, we only had 4 spots open. And they were working with those students on the wait list. It's probably full now, so that's wonderful. And they are doing a really, really good job with that program, and it's exciting. So this is great data. So what we've gathered overall is we had a projection of 195 student loss of FTE, and we think we're going to be almost smack dab on the projection. So that is good for our budgeting. It's accurate. We won't know 100% until after the count, but our data is telling us that it was accurate.
So just a point of clarification, the 12th grade numbers that you said includes OEC, that also includes 13th year.
And it also includes Laker Opportunity Center, which is about 60 students.
Yeah, so we don't classify 13th grade, but honestly, half their time is really with OCC anyhow, so is that a different?
No, they still count.
We still count as a full FTE?
We just pay tuition.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just popped in my head. Anybody have any questions regarding the data first?
My question was that too. So all of OCC gets bumped, OEC gets put into 12th grade, or 12th and 13th get put into the 12th grade.
Right, and there's also 9th, 10th, and 11th graders.
But those get put into the 9th
Their own
grade?
grades, yeah.
Perfect, thank you, all right.
And then we also have students at the IA
Yeah.
who are counted as our own students. There's 10 in each grade, 9 through 12.
Yep.
And then we also have Liquor Opportunity Center students. Those are our alternative students, and we have about 60, maybe 62 students in the program. And those are all almost exclusively seniors.
Okay, thank you. I have another question, you want to go around?
Yeah, let's go around.
Okay.
Deborah, do you have something? I know you lifted your hand.
You did. Okay.
You're good? Nick?
Good.
Art? You good? Okay, back at you, Chris.
Ah, super. So I love that we are following why people are moving. I'd love to see why people have left. I know we talked about exit interviews. Do you have any data on that yet?
We have it from some buildings. They do exit interviews with students, and we do some form in our school. We don't have a ton of success with people actually filling it out.
Okay, it'd just be nice to know.
Would be
Also, and then do you have data on how the population is split between the different schools? Is that something that?
Do you mean the enrollment?
So like
in each
the
building?
enrollment, yeah, so when I'm looking at it and I can see that in, no, I'm looking at 6th grade, that's only one school, sorry. Like kindergarten, okay, we have 281 students. Where are the 281 students?
Yeah, we do have the data.
Is that something you could share?
They're at, I think you mean for the elementaries, correct?
Yeah, because everybody else.
Because I did the same thing, we only have one middle school, right? So they're all there.
They're all
So like if you wouldn't mind sharing that, I would like to see that.
We'll include that in the weekly update. We'll put a
Okay,
link to the
super.
spreadsheet.
Thank you.
But just so everybody knows, like, the numbers will continue to change.
Yeah,
We can't
it's
use it for
1.0.
anything until the,
Until we
until
do
the count,
audited.
yeah, audited count. But just, it's good data to have, but it's
The
not,
audited count usually doesn't come until the new year. It's a
it's
long.
crazy. It takes time.
It's a snapshot is all I
It's a
I have
snapshot.
no idea, I just wanted to know.
Yep.
Thank you.
Wait, I was just writing your numbers myself to make sure that's snapshot.
Basically,
Elementary enrollment.
by enrollment, by grade level, correct? Building grade level.
Thanks.
Very good. Thank you for that. Thank you, Johanna. Agenda item number 12 is our plow truck review.
Hopefully this will be quick.
Jamie's, once again,
Good evening.
now we have you here, I guess we want to see you a lot.
What's that? I know, I love it. So our facility department has requested an additional 2 plow trucks to add to our fleet. Normally I'd give you a fleet replacement schedule, but Ted said he actually needs these in addition to the trucks we already have. We currently have 5 pickup trucks. The 2 oldest ones are 2013. He wants one of those to redeploy to the grounds crew, and then he also wants the other one to use as a backup for the bus garage for touch-ups and plowing that we might need on those snow days. And then we'll continue to drive those until they can't be driven anymore. So we did receive a quote from MIDeal, and I looked in the past history, and I know when I've gone for vehicle approvals before, this is typically what school districts will use is the MIDeal account. It's a state cooperative purchasing program. Gorno Ford is the winning bidder on that program, so we contacted Gorno Ford. They gave us a quote for 2 2016 F-250 trucks. We worked with the mechanics to come up with the specifications, and here we go. The total for the 2 is $97,498. It was included in our original budget, so we did have a line item for that that was included in the original budget for this year.
Anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're moving from red to white.
Something about a split.
Agenda item number 13 is our Neola special release, August 2025, parent opt-out form 2, Dr. Danya.
So the policy committee met to discuss the recent Mahmoud versus Taylor Supreme Court case results that basically expanded parental rights to request that their child be excused from instruction if it's in opposition to their religious beliefs. Just to be clear, this case is still, like, there's still a lot going on with this case, and it really is specific to elementary. What it doesn't do, it doesn't allow you to opt out on state approved curriculum. So if the curriculum is a part of the standards and people say, well, I don't want to learn about, I'm not gonna get into the controversy of that, but, you know, on X subject, if it's a part of our state standards, which is assessed, then that would be a no. But West Bloomfield has always had a policy on controversial topics where parents have the opportunity to opt out. Neola does have another update coming even after this update that the policy committee will be meeting soon to convene on. But what they do recommend is that we utilize an opt-out form that basically is put on our curricular website that says if there's a topic that you find is in contrast, you know, in opposition to your religious beliefs, this is the form that you would then fill out, and then it would either be approved or denied at the building level. So we discussed in terms of looking at that policy and what should we do. We came to a consensus that we'd approve the use of that form. Like I said, that will come to the board at the next regular board meeting just for the form. But we just got the other updates for September on Friday, which are much more lengthy than the one form. I know how much we love policy. So we'll discuss, you know, if there's any further changes to that policy 2240. I feel like I saw it somewhere, but I can't remember. So for the board's approval at the next meeting is just the usage of the form, which honestly we've already used kind of our own form. Anytime that a parent has not been comfortable with something, we've found reasonable accommodations. So it's not anything new to West Bloomfield.
You have any questions on that? Okay, thanks for that. Number 14 is our agenda. Item number 14 is our MAS Delegate Assembly Designate discussion. And I was just going to ask Kirsten if you would be our designate. You will be up at the annual conference, the MASB, on that Thursday night. If you, Carol always goes to it too, so she'll be there. So this is what it is. So
It's really easy.
So Deborah's been there too, I think. You've been going. I never want to go
You
back.
guys signed me up for it, I don't want to ever do that again.
Well, that doesn't make you.
It's great.
You're gonna enjoy it. You would enjoy it, it's not my cup of tea.
It's MASB's update on policies and bylaws. So, and every district can have one rep to vote on the updated stuff.
Okay.
And so I know you'll be there on Thursday, so I was gonna say,
Okay.
but whatever, you know, I can talk to you before.
Okay.
You also don't have to.
You don't,
Like, we
also don't have to.
Yes.
Like,
Even
whatever
if
you
you
wanna
decide
do.
not to go, that.
I'm going, that's fine. I'm happy to represent.
Okay.
And if you sit next to Carol, she would walk you through it, that's what she did for me.
That would be her call.
I think everybody's done it. I think everybody's tried to do it once. That's your initiation.
All right.
It's good. You have to keep
Okay.
it. You have to keep it by someone.
All right, thank you. And I probably should have called you. I think it was a heavy Thursday weekend, but.
It's fine.
Okay, so, sorry about that.
I'll hear
Agenda
about it.
item number 15 is good for the order. What does anybody have? Anybody have anything more? Anything? Yes.
Right, I do. So I just want to update Lucy and Charlie Brown. So I'm Integris and I believe in structure and order, right? So I believe in the respect that goes to the board table, our superintendent, and other fellow board members. So imagine my surprise when we talk about board norms and including surprises in. So when we talked about it just last month, I did agree with the norm of no surprises. But in that same meeting, about 2 minutes later, I got a big surprise from our superintendent who made a announcement or speech, you know, about an ongoing case, the Roosevelt, and said some things in regards to the community that I thought I'm surprised about. So the surprise rule has, and I was reluctant to agree because I said then, I said, you know what, it's not working for everyone because I'm constantly surprised about what we do as a board and surprised about, again, comments that were made. So I just want to be clear and have everyone understand I no longer want to be part of this no surprise rule because I take it seriously. I am not one who is going to offer you my word and then go back on it. But that's what I find that happens within the board. So I don't agree to it because
Do you think
again,
your motion not printed and shared with the board was a surprise?
that's part of the board meeting.
But it's a surprise. You could have had it ready for everybody to have put in front of them to read
So
it.
that's why I'm telling you,
Yeah.
this no surprise, it's good for everyone else, but not good for me. So again, since we're no surprises, because again, let me restate, we agreed to that and just in 1 minute later, we heard comments from our superintendent that was off surprises.
Okay.
So again, if we're at that point, made it null and void. Because again, and I specifically indicated, it has to come from all of us. It has to be part of what we all do. It's not just for me, it's for us all. So if it's not gonna be for us all, Lucy's holding that ball for Charlie Brown and he's hoping every time that she'll hold it steady. I'm Charlie Brown. I want it to be that way, but it's not. So the same day or the same meeting that we made it, it was violated a minute later.
Okay. Well, I think that we still strive to uphold to what we would agree and to have no surprises. That's my take. You guys can all decide how you want to handle that. But I think that we always have to continue to work to be a team and to trust what is going to happen at the board table, and that I think that you don't give up, you keep working.
So you
That's
have
my
to trust the motion that I put on the floor and not attack it.
Well,
Because
I-
that's what you just did.
I did not attack it. I said, do you think that was a surprise? You're
It's-
throwing put
it's-
words in my mouth.
It's part of we are having a board meeting and we do that every,
You and I just have
meeting.
different opinions of
That's why,
surprises.
again, this no surprise is again, it continually is a surprise for me. So I'm just letting everyone know, because again, I'm integrous, so if I tell you that I'm gonna give you my word, then I try to keep that. So I wanted to bring that forward to the board to say, I'm surprised constantly, and a minute later, after we agreed as a board, there was a shocking surprise that was given by Dr. Bazey, so.
All right, can I say something?
Oh, sure.
I understand what you're saying. I think we can all improve and do better, but I don't think we should abandon it. We gotta try better.
I
We gotta
think
all
that's,
try better.
I think that's good for you.
Okay.
So are you saying you wanna have surprises? You're saying it's not good for you to not do surprises, do you wanna surprise people?
So let me repeat. So again, it is a norm that we all should follow. We made that rule
Agreed.
last,
No, I get that, but you're
meeting.
saying it's not good for you.
no,
So what do you?
what I'm saying is that if everyone else is gonna surprise, it's not a norm. If we make that rule and in 1 minute we get a surprise comment, then we're not exercising self-control. So what I choose not to do is be part of a group that's agreeing and we're not exercising it. Not my group. So again, from that perspective, if we agree, then we agree.
I hear this. I hear
Is
this.
there anything else? that you
Right,
wanna
no,
ask?
and
No, it's not you per se, you're saying it doesn't work for me. So, like, are you saying I guess I cannot control if anybody else surprises, makes a surprise. I can only control my own actions. So it sounds to me like you're saying you're not committing to that. Like,
I've said it 3 times, I can say it again. I'm not committing to anything as a group when the other members aren't agreeing to the same principle and acting not in accordance to what the agreement is. So if we agree with it at 5:02 and then it's broken at 5:05, that's not an agreement that I want to be a part of.
I think it's important that we don't have surprises, and if we do something right, you know, if I didn't, I apologize, but I think we have to let know that we can't do that.
And I respect your opinion, just like I'm asking you to respect. So thank you.
Yeah, and I did address that concern about the surprises as well. I did it in an email. But what my good for the order was to circle back with you about our board self-evaluation and possibly doing something, and I think this would be a great time, sorry, to do that. You were gonna look to see if there are
I
other,
have not,
okay,
I've not totally looked into all that, but I
Okay.
will, but I will.
thank you.
It's been a,
You've had a lot, but
Quite
it was
a lot.
something that was on my,
yeah.
to circle back with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I will say too, it's surprising to me that when best practices indicate for student achievement that you do X, Y, or Z by the Michigan Association of School Boards, that we go around the room and we don't want to do it. That to me is a surprise.
What don't we want to do? I want to do no surprises. Or are you talking about what Kirsten just brought up? Are you
So-
talking about self-evaluation or are you talking about surprises?
Well, I'm talking about self-evaluation. We asked for a board evaluation. That was in the last meeting. Everyone said we don't need it. I can't imagine why, in as much as it's a best practice, and if student achievement is our North Star, and Michigan Association of School Boards is saying it is the best practice, why wouldn't we want to do it?
Well, I said,
But that
at that
is a
time,
surprise
I will
to
be
me.
bringing it back later in the fall with, I was gonna research other companies or tools. Didn't I say that? Oh, you weren't here.
Yep, you were,
I did say
yeah,
that.
no,
Okay, then it's not
That's
anything
what
I didn't
I
follow
was-
through, but I have not done it yet, so.
I was circling back, yep, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna adjourn it at,
Wait, wait, wait.
nine. Oh, sorry, go ahead, sorry.
I know.
Sorry, no
So-
surprises.
Oh, no.
Okay, no surprises.
No, go on.
All right, so I just want to thank the staff. We had really an incredible first few weeks of school. Things have looked good. Our band is looking good. Our football team is looking good. Our implementation of our new middle school schedule is going very well. We're starting to see a lot of the things play out into the classrooms. This is our first year with EL education across the district. There's a webinar for that for families, so if they have questions about the new reading program on September 25th at 6:30. Scott Long and his team are going to send that out to make sure everyone has access to that. But again, between PTO meetings and being involved in the community, we really see a lot of excitement about the work that's being done. And I'm encouraged by the people I work with at the cabinet level, and as well as our teachers and support staff. Everyone really is doing everything they can do to collectively make it a great start to the school year. And, I'm very grateful for Team W. Thank you.
Okay, now with this.
Nope, you gotta use the gavel.
Oh,
Just a tiny gavel.
The little. Now the meeting is adjourned, it was 9:43.
Couldn't hear it.